enhance its efficiency, transparency, and accountability. The committee will further inquire into the infrastructure and the facility being put in place by the two levels of government to implement UHC successfully, the challenge faced, and if any, the strategies applied to address these challenges. Mr. Speaker, sir, in conclusion, I wish to thank your office and the office of the Clerk of the Senate for continue supporting accorded to the committee in executing its mandate. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I also wish to thank the members of the committee for their diligence and contribution during committee activities. I thank you.
Now, honorable senators, before I allow comments on statements sought, I'll beseech you that we do handle order number 8, 9, and 10, and then we can come back to comments. These are orders that require a voice vote. We can dispense with the same in the next 5 minutes at most. Clerk, proceed to call those orders.
Order number 8, motion, report of the joint sitting of the National Assembly, Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning, and the Senate Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the approval hearing of the nominees for appointment to the Board of Central Bank of Kenya. Question to be put.
Clerk, do we have the requisite quorum? Now, honorable senators, this is a matter that does not affect counties, and therefore voting shall be by voice. I'll proceed to put the question. That the Senate adopt the joint report of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning of the National Assembly and the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget of the Senate on the approval hearing of the nominees for appointment to the Board of Central Bank of Kenya, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, the 6th of May, 2025, and that pursuant to Section 11.2 of the Central Bank of Kenya Act and Section 8.2 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, the Senate approved the appointment of the following nominees as members of the Board of Central Bank of Kenya. 1, FCPA Sophie Muturi. 2, CPA Abdullahi Mohammed Abdi. 3, Ms. Beatrice Koskei, and Mr. David Simpson Osawa Oworo. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, report of the 14th ordinary session of the Plenary Assembly and the related meetings of the Forum of Parliaments of the International Conference of the Great Lakes Region held in Livingstone, Zambia from 15th to 19th of April 2024. Resumption of debate. Question to be put.
Do we have the necessary quorum? Honorable Senators, this is a matter that does not affect counties, and therefore the voting shall be by voice. And I'll proceed to put the question. But the Senate notes the report of the 14th ordinary session of the Plenary Assembly and related meetings of the Forum for Parliaments of the International Conference of the Great Lakes Region, held in Livingstone, Zambia, from the 15th to the 19th of April 2024, laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, the 30th of May 2024. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, motion, report of the Senate delegation to the High-Level Political Forum 2024 on sustainable development. Resumption of debate. Question to be put.
Do we have the requisite quorum, Clerk? Again, this is a matter that does not affect counties, and therefore voting shall be by voice. I will therefore proceed to put the question. That the Senate notes the report of the Senate delegation to the High-Level Political Forum 2024 on Sustainable Development, held in New York, United States of America, from the 8th to the 17th of July 2024, laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 20th February 2025. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Now, honorable senators, we will now resume comments on the statements sought today, starting with Senator Wamatinga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, for according me this opportunity to add my voice to the statements that have been raised today. Also, Mr. Speaker, sir, the reports that have been presented before the floor of this House, Mr. Speaker, we know that we have a law, we have an obligation, we have a political and moral obligation to the Kenyan citizens to raise matters that affect them. Mr. Speaker, sir, I've listened and listened keenly to various statements that have been led. I've listened keenly to the reports that have been presented before us. And indeed, Mr. Speaker, sir, for those who doubted the performance of this House, Mr. Speaker, I want to say, yes, we have indeed done quite a good job, very commendable, but we can do more. Mr. Speaker, allow me to commend the report that was laid by the chair of the Finance Committee. Allow me to commend the report that was laid before this House by the chair of the Energy Committee, my successor, because indeed this lays patent issues that affect this country and more so the distribution of power and its connectivity. Mr. Speaker, sir, indeed it should never be lost that 80% of the landmass of Kenya only contributes to 20% of the GDP. This, Mr. Speaker, can be largely be attributed to the fact that they are not connected to the national grid. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the said tour that was undertaken by the Committee of Energy to Ujel County, indeed we saw the potential that was in that county. We saw, in absence of connectivity to the national grid, them relying with only power from generators, which is very, very expensive, not only expensive, but also very toxic to the environment. It leaves a lot and does a lot of disservice to the county of Wajir. This, Mr. Speaker, extends to the county of Mandela, county of Marsabit, county of Garissa, and we must, as a nation, realize that the potential we have, and we're talking about 80% of the landmass of this country, if connected to the national grid, Mr. Speaker, we can achieve far much more. Mr. Speaker, looking at the GDP that we are enjoying right now, 4.5%, which is only attributable to 20% of the landmass, the question that lingers in our mind is how much more can we be able to achieve if we are able to bring on board the 80% of the landmass? Mr. Speaker, sir, a few suggestions have been put forward, and I do agree with the presentation that if we were to look at the PPPs from a different approach, Mr. Speaker, we can be able to unlock private equity. We will be able to unlock the potential that we have as a country to ensure that moving forward, Mr. Speaker, this country, we get development in every corner of this country, and that would be development for everybody. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to point out that I'm one of those of the opinion that development in any part of this country is indeed development everywhere. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I would expect that every member of this House will realize and say, yes, we must support the connectivity of even the marginalized areas to the national grid so that we can be able to share the national cake as we also look forward at sharing the national obligation, because everybody will have an equal opportunity to contribute to the national growth. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is not also lost to us that just a few days ago, Mr. Speaker, the President pronounced himself into ensuring that we have road networks across the country. Mr. Speaker, this is the way that we must look at it. It is, Mr. Speaker, not lost to us that this is not time to do politics. This is not time to segregate ourselves into tribal cocoons, but rather look at this country, the potential that we have, and more so the responsibility that we have towards the younger generation, and more so providing this opportunity, and that can only be done by ensuring that they join the main grid, which is the digital economy, and that can never be done, Mr. Speaker, if we do not join them to the national grid. Mr. Speaker, sir, I support.
Honorable Senators, we are just making comments on the statements. That is why I disagree with you, because you are just making a comment on a particular statement. So next is Wambua, just 3 minutes, every member, 3 minutes, every senator. Just 3 minutes are enough to make a comment.
Mr. Speaker, I cannot argue with your ruling, but you know that, Mr. Speaker, is not very procedural. Once the debate has started, you cannot just limit it like that. But that's fine, Mr. Speaker.
That's why I'm saying this is not a debate. You are making just a comment on a statement.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I will try. If I don't make it, Mr. Speaker, I will ask you to give me a minute extra. Mr. Speaker, I want to begin by commenting the Committee on Energy, especially on their visit to Thange River last week. Mr. Speaker, it is unimaginable that an oil spill that happened in 2015, the people of Thange are still grappling with the consequences of that oil spill, and the government is almost mum on that issue. As Speaker, I want to appeal to the committee led by Senator Oburu to go beyond just scratching the surface on that matter, and to ensure that, Mr. Speaker, that the truth of the matter in relation to that spill and the suffering of the people of Thange come to light. The Speaker, it is a very weird thing that, actually what happened is that the oil spill was detected in 2015. There is no telling how much longer that spill was happening and how much longer these people have consumed contaminated water every day of their life. Mr. Speaker, what needs to happen in other democracies, that would be a serious crisis. Be a serious crisis, Mr. Speaker. There is a call to action in that happening, Mr. Speaker, to ensure actually a complete shutdown of the entire region to clean up the mess before you can allow people to live and grow crops and take water from that place. And serious conversation, the Speaker, needs to happen. The Speaker, on the Committee on Health, on the matter, Mr. Speaker, of the inquiries that they are carrying out. The Speaker, allow me to say this, that the Committee of Health needs to move this House and this country
Give him a minute, but observe the signs.
I would do that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the matter of the Health Committee, this team, led by former governor of Uasin Gishu, must begin to deal with matters of healthcare beyond political statements. We don't want the committee to sit with politicians and come and report what the politicians told them. Mr. Speaker, we want this committee to carry out inquiries, to go into hospitals and tell us why so many hospitals in Kitui County do not have drugs, and tell us why there is serious problems in Nandi, why the Eldoret Teaching and Referral Hospital has issues, Mr. Speaker. We don't want this committee to begin behaving like just a committee, an ad hoc committee that sits with ministers and politicians, and they are told what to come and tell this House. We want this committee to go to the ground Mr. Speaker, health is a very critical function of this, this House. It's a devolved function. It's a devolved function. And they need to go and we have a doctor. I'm not very sure whether Dr. Alwale is a member of that committee. Maybe he's not. They need to consult him, and he can lead them on how best to take up matters of health, Mr. Speaker. But this thing of sitting in boardrooms and bringing us reports, Mr. Speaker, if I was marking for that committee on the report that they have given the Speaker, I would have said they have done very badly. They have done very poorly. The Speaker, these committees must begin to do work. The Speaker, this is a serious thing. Health is nothing. It's not something that we are going to be cutting deals on. We will not. We will demand that action be taken, Mr. Speaker, as well on other issues. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Vice Chair, Committee on Health, Vice Chair, Senator Mariam Sheikh. Is it you want to give you a part of the story on what has been alleged by Senator Enoch is true?
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the
Senator
opportunity.
Chalgei, Onda.
Speaker, one of our resolution is that we agreed as a committee that we do oversight down the counties. Mr. Speaker, as per we are talking, almost, I don't know the numbers, but almost 10 counties we have visited. These are the 2 weeks recess of, we went to Mandera County, Wajir, and Marsabit. Mr. Speaker, if even we agreed that resolution that instead of doing Senate boardroom in the House, we need 1 month rotation for each counties to do, Mr. Speaker. We need to change our standing order so that instead of sitting in this House with AC making decisions, it's better we go outside to 47 counties for each department, not only health, so that to see what's going on in our counties. Mr. Speaker, we went to Kisumu, Trans Nzoia, West Pokot, Mombasa, Kwale, Taita Taveta. There are many which I cannot remember. Mr. Speaker, I call the bishop to be in order so that because of a constraint of the budget which hold us back, in fact, we wanted to go to, which is in our next weekend, that we wanted to go to Isiolo and Garissa, Mr. Speaker, as we're talking. So that is one of our key features that we wanted to see how health sectors are doing in the county system, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Yeah. Senator Derito John.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am keen with the report of energy because what I listened to Energy Committee telling us, one, I have to say they have done a good job so that Senator Kisang will not rise on a point of order. But the truth be told, Mr. Speaker, the truth be told is that they concentrated so much in issues that are not affecting Kenyans, so to speak. Mr. Speaker, we are having blackout every day in this report, every day, Mr. Speaker. I have not heard them talking about, they're talking about having smart meters. And I think I want to agree with what Wambua is saying. The committee are dealing with areas that deals can be cut, not maybe by the committee, but by the people that they are oversighting, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was expecting them to tell us, for the committee to tell us what they are doing so that KPLC cannot be the only people who are giving Kenyans power. We want private sector, other private sectors to move in and help Kenyans so that we can reduce the bills that we are paying, Mr. Speaker. But we have not had that. Well, they have concentrated on other things which they have not done even very well, as Senator Wambua is saying, when they visited some place in Dange, in Makueni, Mr. Speaker. But at least they are trying, because after after many years, those after 2015 up to now, at least they're doing something. So it's good, we can commend them. Committee of Health, Mr. Speaker, is disastrous because every time you have had these doctors that are on strike, county government, there are problems, and we have not had any. I've listened to the report. I thought there will be very serious report to tell us what is the way forward so that we don't have strikes in our counties. Mr. Speaker, I have heard the member of the committee, the vice chair of the committee, Mr. Speaker, telling us we should not be sitting under ACs. We should go to the ground. Mr. Speaker, we have given them the duty as a committee to do that. Nothing is stopping them from doing it. They can go to one county, Mr. Speaker, 2 counties, depending on the budget, Mr. Speaker. And that's why we have reduced the numbers to 9. We don't have the whole Senate because it is impossible, Mr. Speaker. So they should not give us any reason whatsoever, Mr. Speaker, about budget and any stuff. They should go to one county and make that one as a benchmark, Mr. Speaker. We don't need excuses, Mr. Speaker, that this one cannot be.
Senator Ali Roba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the reports that were presented by the 3 committees. And in particular, I want to applaud the Committee of Energy because under the circumstance they have done well. There is room for improvement, and that has come out from my colleagues. But the committee that I closely followed, Mr. Speaker, is the Committee of Health. Because recently that committee visited Mandera County, Wajir County, and Marsabit County. And to speak, the truth in terms of what my take was from the engagement they've done in the 3 counties, it was an eye-opener. It has improved the oversight profile of the Senate because this committee was able to engage directly with service provision at the lowest level. And they were able to challenge workers at various hospitals. In Mandera, they visited the referral hospital. They've revisited, small units within the town in terms of service provision. They have also gone to one of the sub-counties, and they were able to engage and point out the gaps that were glaring within the health sector, within our counties. I really want to applaud and encourage them to be doing impromptu visits similar to that because this is the oversight responsibility of the Senate. It's coming out. It is going to enforce and encourage service delivery, and also it's going to motivate, the service providers by the county governments in terms of them understanding that they are not in an environment unwatched, that the Senate of the Republic of Kenya are taking their mandate clearly to make sure that, yes.
What is out of order? Senator Derito.
Mr. Speaker, I have heard my colleague and good senator, Ali Roba, saying that the committee made an impromptu visit. Mr. Speaker, understanding orders, I thought you're supposed to give 7 days notice to any place you are going. I don't think that's impromptu, unless, Mr. Speaker, impromptu has a different meaning.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank my colleague for sharing that, but I want to reiterate they've made impromptu visit to smaller units while they're in the county. And to qualify, the invitation they have done and the formal procedures have been followed, but once they're in the county, nothing that stops them to visit the health facilities. And they have done a wonderful job.
Tambo.
Now, Mr. Speaker, under Standing Order 56, the chairs are supposed to report on progress made within the 3 months. the senator for Mandera, who seems to have benefited from a visit by the committee, is giving us a report on the visit. But the report that is giving us does not form part of the content of the report brought by the committee, Mr. Speaker. So whose report, Mr. Speaker, are we going to believe? The report of the chair or the report of the senator, Mr. Speaker?
Seems to have more details. It is a detailed report or not transparent in Mandera County.
Mr. Speaker, sir, as my colleague has stated, this Senate is alive, and it's alive, our committee is alive, events are happening. These reports were filed on the floor of the Senate. They were only able to be scheduled for reading today. But the events that are unfolding is part of the committee's work. And it is, the onus is upon us to keep tabs with what our committees are doing in our counties, so that we get to understand what is happening. I took it upon myself to get to understand the engagement in Mandera, in Wajir, and in Marsabit. And I've even developed keen interest to find out where they're visiting next. Because this is what is going to improve the profile of the Senate, the oversight responsibility that this Senate has, and it's going to make sure that the Senate is going to be taken very serious, because our oversight should not be limited within only invitations, but first-hand information. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to support. Thank you.
Senator Chalagay Samson.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I want just to make two comments. One on the Committee of Health, Mr. Speaker. But I have not spoken.
Mr. Speaker, I wanted to inform Senator Wambua.
Not on the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I can see Senator Wambua is not is doubting the committee, but if you go back to the standing order paper of today morning and last week, you can see the motion of the Senate visit Taita Taveta, Mombasa, Kwale, and another report is West Pokot and Turkana and Trans Nzoia. The report we have tabled it. It's the House to adopt it, Mr. Speaker.
We have no doubt that you are visiting those counties, but you'll be safe with Senator Wambua until you visit Kitui County. I'd also have a case with you. You have refused to visit Meru County. Senator Chalgay, use your minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. One, Mr. Speaker, you know the essence of devolution is health. I visited Maraba Sub-County Hospital on Saturday. I visited Kapsabet County Referral Hospital, Mosoriat Sub-County Hospital. I visited Chepterwai. I visited Chepkongon Dispensary. I visited Kiropket Dispensary. All those are dysfunctional. There is no drugs. Despite that the county government under Sang administration has allocated over 300 million per year. But there is no drugs in hospital. The poor sanitation, you have seen those photos going viral, Mr. Speaker. Yet the Committee of Health has never found it wise to visit the county of Nandi, Mr. Speaker. We need reports. We need individual reports to be tabled on the House, because, Mr. Speaker, the reason even Senate is under siege or under siege is because health is dysfunctional, Mr. Speaker. The Health Committee must pull up its socks and ensure they give value to this House, Mr. Speaker. We must not be treated to sideshows. And this habit, Mr. Speaker, of instead visiting the dispensaries, they go and visit a governor, courtesy call for what? Where does the governor want to go that must be visited? Is it a school visiting day? Are they visiting the governors with lunch boxes, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, we must stop this habit. Whenever we visit Kakamega, let us visit Kakamega County Referral Hospital, Kitui County Referral, and find out Meru. Find out why there are no drugs in hospital, why doctors are demotivated, Mr. Speaker. Don't visit governors to look nice for photos, unless you want to frame for future references of autobiographies, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, secondly, I would have expected them to give us a takeaway on UHC staff that suffered since post-COVID era, Mr. Speaker. We have seen a news flash by the Ministry of Health that UHC staff will be transferred to counties. Our county is ready to observe all the UHC staff. We must be told, even their terms of service. Mr. Speaker, you remember Donald Trump, who the other day generated an AI image of him becoming the next pope or the next pope thief, stopped the money that came through USAID. And the people who are staff under Global Aid Fund don't know their future. We must be told what happens to Global Aid Fund staff, Mr. Speaker. Finally, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of energy, I want to say it's disappointing that Mandera and Northern Kenya, Mr. Speaker, still uses generator. And there is Kenya Power and Lighting, Mr. Speaker. And when they took 3 generators, only one is functional in Mandera, Mr. Speaker. They lied to the people of Mandera, the Northern Kenya. Are they not part of Kenyans, Mr. Speaker? The Committee of Energy led by the youth leader and the face of broad-based government, Senator Oburu Odinga, and I'm happy. The reason I'm relaxed on him, Mr. Speaker, is because he told of Senator Orengo the other day, Governor Orengo, Mr. Speaker. We must
There's
stop.
a point of order from the Senator for Mandera County.
But I was assisting him by pushing for...
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise on point of order number 105. While I appreciate the statement he has made, which arose from a physical visit that my colleague, Senator Wambua Cherargei, have done in Mandera and the challenges he's sharing on energy. But can the Honorable Senator substantiate for a fact that if a committee visits a given county and does a courtesy call on the governor, that the committee's function and responsibility within that county will be impaired by that visit? Can he substantiate? Because we have visited several counties, we've done courtesy call, but we've ended up doing our mandates as required by the law. Can he then substantiate how does it render our effective roles as senators when we visit and do courtesy call? This is just basically a statement of respect that we are here and that issue. If that is wrong, I would like him to substantiate to what extent that invalidates the visit or the functional responsibility that the various committees will undertake. Thank you.
Senator Chalege.
You know, Mr. Speaker, I was making a very pregnant point. I can allow Senator Wambua to inform me. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to inform us, Senator Cherargei, so that he doesn't belabor responding to that issue. Yes. The Speaker, the point of contention is that when a committee visits a governor, and then yes, when they visit me as governor, then I want a situation where my visit does not look like, a visit to my office does not look like it's the central theme of the committee being in the county. That's exactly what we are saying. That is the Speaker, even the photos that are circulated on the walls of the committees and the individual members, a lot more of those photos are for the visit to the governor and not the facilities. And we are saying, the Speaker, especially for the Committee on Health, there are so many dysfunctional health facilities in every county that a minute spent with the governor is a waste of precious time. That's what we are saying, Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
Conclude your comment.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much, because even sometimes when you go to visit a governor, people end up taking a lot of time, even 1 hour that should have used to visit some of the facilities. And you know, one funny thing, after the event, you see some colleagues of ours, with all due respect, putting a caption, the governor has promised to improve. Yet they have not visited those facilities, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, finally, on the Committee of Energy, please, let's Mandera and Northern Kenya access Kenya Power to the national grid. It is unfortunate that Mandera has only one functional generator that goes off because of the heat after every time, Mr. Speaker. That it is very unfortunate, and Kenya Power must be called out that Kenyans in Mandera, as the Kenyans have equal chance like Kenyans in Nairobi, in the spirit of broad-based, where we want to bring equity, equality, fairness and transparency, even in terms of energy distribution in this country, Mr. Speaker. So I want to commend the committee led by Senator Oburu Odinga, who is our face of broad-based and one of the youth leaders of this country, and the architect, Mr. Speaker, and I want to congratulate him for telling off Governor Orengo. I saw Senator Sifuna saying something today about broad-based. If he wants to, he should be careful, because Senator Oburu, when he speaks, it's Raila Odinga who speaks. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support all those statements.
Senator Gloria Oromo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This afternoon, I rise to add my voice to the various statements, the Energy Committee statement and the Finance Committee statement. Mr. Speaker, first of all, before I go into any issue, I want to remind Kenyans and the members of this House that the Senate does a lot of work. We do a lot of thorough investigations, inquiries, we put together reports. We submit the reports at the floor of the House, we debate the reports, and then we adopt the reports, or the reports are tabled and taken in as work output, Mr. Speaker. I want to remind the members of this House that we have certain issues that we have deliberated on and placed reports. We had the Shakahola issue, Mr. Speaker, very controversial. We went down to the grassroots, did investigations, the committee tabled a report, we adopted with recommendations, the report is there. The Energy Committee that I've seen, they have given a summary of their work, also dealt with the explosion in Muradi, where lives were lost, Mr. Speaker. They've given the recommendations, they've tabled the report is there. You remember the issue of Governor Natembeya and his deputy. That was at that time a very serious issue for the people of Trans Nzoia County. Mr. Speaker, the report is here, tabled. We had members of this House going to the US, Mr. Speaker, to follow on the victims of the bomb blast, Mr. Speaker. We even had budgets. Members went to the US, spoke to victims, spoke to who, did what was meant to be done. Recommendations were put, the report was tabled, Mr. Speaker. Nobody is asking why nothing is being done after tabling the reports. So, Mr. Speaker, even as we are interrogating all these reports by the Finance Committee and the Energy Committee and all other committees, Mr. Speaker, the question then becomes, is our work here in Senate, the upper house, to just table reports? Mr. Speaker, we have continuously asked that we be given a committee to follow up on the implementation of all the reports that we have in this House, Mr. Speaker, so that we can even know whether the victims of the Muradi explosion, which the Energy Committee has told us is here, whether they were actually taken care of, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it saddens me as a member of this House that all our work is going to be filed in the basis or in the form of a report, and the legacy of this House is just reports that are being tabled, Mr. Speaker. My question to this House and to the members of this House is, will we continue to sit and table reports, Mr. Speaker, or are we actually going to push that we become part of the implementation of these reports? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Boni Kalwala.
Mr. Speaker, I'm lost for words. I'm speaking on the contributions made in respect of the report on health. I don't know what is biting the former governor of Mandera, and I don't know what is biting the current senator of Nandi. What's wrong with a committee going into a county and having a sitting with the governor and actually affording an opportunity to field questions that will enrich their report? It is not the responsibility of the committee to babysit any governor. They should go and ask him hard questions, like what is obtaining in Nandi. It would be gross failure if the Committee of Health will go to Nandi and fail to go and interview the governor. Mr. Speaker, it is so serious that in Kakamega, as we speak now, doctors are on strike. Mr. Speaker, it is so serious that in Kakamega, the governor is, through his chief officer, Dr. David Alira. They are trying to teach doctors Corruption. When this committee goes there, it is time for them not only to talk to the governor about these issues that I'm about to raise, but also afford me an invitation so that I sit through the meeting. Mr. Speaker, people of Kakamega are wondering how interest is paid to medical facilities in excess of the requisition made by that superintendent of the hospital. And then upon receipt, the medical superintendent, Mr. Speaker, is rung by Alila, who then asks for the excess on the authority to incur expense to be taken back to him. Butere Hospital, Malaba Hospital, Igu Hospital, at Butere and Malaba, the doctors were asked to remit a refund of 10 millions in each of those two hospitals. In Ikuhu, 6 million. Mr. Speaker, the bankings were done. The transfer of the money to Dr. Alila, Mr. Speaker, was done on the 20th of October 2024 in the afternoon. These are things we know. We want the committee to scare these governors so that they don't teach my medical professionals even an ounce of corruption, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Senator Veronica Duarte.
After me. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, especially for distinguishing who should speak first between me and my neighbor. Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Senator Kisang will wait and abide until I finalize. I want to support the report and the statements that have been presented to this House this afternoon. And I want to single out the very elaborate report that has been presented by our chairperson of Energy Committee, a committee that I am a member of, the Senate Standing Committee on Energy. Honorable Speaker, I want to single out the issues that have been raised here, especially the issue of the LPG explosion that occurred in the Mradi area, where we see victims, 11 lives were lost, and at least 280 people were involved, and many people were injured during these incidents. Honorable Speaker, in spite of the fact that I sit in this committee, I want to say that in many jurisdictions, such explosions will be taken as very serious accident incidents, where the policy framework enables people who have suffered from such incidences to be compensated very quickly and very adequately, not because it's the tidiest position for any country to be in, but because it is only the right thing to do, and because, Honorable Speaker, any stakeholders who are working within this sector, the policy framework would ensure that any actors in this sector are adequately insured, the insurance is responsive, and we want to call out, Honorable Speaker, the insurance companies that are covering such incidences, and even covering companies that are dealing, or institutions that are dealing with oils, Honorable Speaker, gas, oil and gas field, Honorable Speaker. It is high time in this nation, Honorable Speaker, that we have a foolproof policy. And I want to remember an incident that occurred about 2 decades ago in Mombasa with Kenya Petroleum Refinery, which was then insured by companies which were abroad. Honorable Speaker, those insurance companies came to Kenya and they were actively hunting for every victim and every family that had suffered a loss. And they were hunting for them to ensure compensation was adequately done, not undercalculated, but that the victims and their families would feel the burden is a bit eased off, Honorable Speaker. And I would say, Honorable Speaker, since 2015, the Dhangwe Ward, Makueni County, has suffered a spillage, an oil spill, which has caused many cases of diabetes, liver, and kidney disease among the rest.
Let me give you 1 minute.
It is unfortunate that the impact of this spillage has gone to a point where residents of Makueni will most likely lose their lives because of the social environmental impact that spillage has done. And my question is, what is Kenya Maritime Authority doing? Because I know they do have very firm policies on how to deal with spillage. What has been done, Honorable Speaker, because the pictures we even saw from the members who visited there, the oil spill is still there. We have a policy that has a dispersant effect of that oil film, which should have been done by now. But since 2015, reports are not good enough without action being undertaken by the relevant institutions. So we call upon KMA to take adequate measures to inform the public what they have done, and if they have not done anything to disperse that fume of oil, people will continue suffering from the rising cases of diabetes, liver, and kidney diseases. And urgent action needs to be done, and that action reported to Senate to see that we do not just visit a place and the implementation mechanism becomes too weak for even the residents to take advantage of legislators having made a visit to that area.
Senator Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to make comments on two statements, and then you'll allow me, Speaker, to read my statement.
No, then you can have, because Senator Sige can take
Let
his
me
minutes,
then,
then
let
you
me read
finish
fast.
and
Let
then
me read so that they can make comment on the same. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare on a matter of national concern, namely the implementation of the Interagency Technical Committee report of 2019, which proposes the reduction of hardship allowances allocation from 25 billion to 19 billion and the reclassification of hardship zones across the country. Honorable Speaker, sir, the implementation of this report stands to affect thousands of civil servants serving in areas previously recognized as hardship zones, including Elgeyo-Marakwet County, which is proposed for removal from classification as a hardship area despite security challenges that have hampered effective service delivery in that region, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in the statement, the committee should address the following. One, the rationale behind the proposed reduction in hardship allowances from 25 billion to 19 billion and the justification for the reclassification of hardship zones. Two, Honorable Speaker, the criteria used in designating hardship areas, including the specific indicators or benchmarks used to determine whether a region qualifies as an hardship zone. Three, the reasons for the proposed removal of certain regions, including Elgeyo-Marakwet County, from the list of hardship areas, despite persistent challenges such as insecurity and geographical inaccessibility that continue to affect civil service delivery, Honorable Speaker. Four, and the last one, the intended use of the 6 billion projected to be saved through the reduction in hardship allowances, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Speaker, for this. So I don't know you, I continue to
proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in fact, I want to start from this one that I've just read, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, recently there was some reclassification of areas that was released.
Not comment on that.
Thank you. Then that's okay, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wanted to comment on the one by Finance Committee and Energy Committee, Honorable Speaker. On the Finance Committee, I want to thank the committee, Honorable Speaker, and especially on this, the new formula, the fourth session of the formula, Honorable Speaker, on the shareable revenue. Honorable Speaker, there are about 10 counties that are getting less than 6 billion, and I've said many times in this House, Honorable Speaker, if we don't do an affirmative action, some counties in the near future, Honorable Speaker, will be like at the state of Kenya now, and others will be like Singapore, Honorable Speaker, because most counties, these 10 counties, are just basically paying salaries and recurrent. They are not doing any development because the resources they are getting are below what they can help them to undertake any meaningful development, Honorable Speaker. That's what I was saying. If, as we discuss from tomorrow, this new formula, Honorable Speaker, it is important that we set and say at least each county should get first 6 billion, and then from there, anything above 6 billion, then we can subject the formula, Honorable Speaker, so that some counties like Elgeyo-Marakwet County, Tharaka-Nithi, Isiolo, Lamu, even Taita Taveta, they can have some meaningful development, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on the energy, I'm the vice chair of energy, Honorable Speaker, and we have talked about 7 or so counties that are not on the national grid. We have Wajir, we have Mandera, we have Karisa, we have part of Isiolo, majorly Isiolo, Marsabit, even Turkana, Honorable Speaker. And this is because these are areas that were neglected by past governments, Honorable Speaker, and what we need to do as a country. There's nothing that the committee can do as of now.
Just a minute, Senator Kisang. Senator Boni Karwale.
And you alter my time, Honorable Speaker.
Bear with me, Senator. I rise under the Constitution of Kenya, Article 202 and Article 203. Mr. Speaker, the distinguished senator from Elgeyo-Marakwet is saying that this House should adopt a formula where an equal amount of between 5 to 6 billion is given to each county. Mr. Speaker, is he in order? Given that the letter and spirit of the Constitution does not speak to equality, it speaks to equity. How does he want that kind of provision to sit with Articles 202 and 203, which says that shareable revenue will be shared equitably?
I think that is not what he meant, but Senator Kisang can clarify.
You know, the distinguished doctor and the full fighter, Honorable Speaker, is, I believe, he's slightly older than me. I don't know, maybe he didn't get me very well, because, Honorable Speaker, I said, as we discuss the new formula, each county is given first minimum of 6 billion so that they can undertake the pay minimum, they can do pay salaries. Kakamega County basically have 10 CCs, Elgeyo-Marakwet County 10 CCs, maybe 12 chief officers. We have similar almost nurses, the same county referral hospitals. But Honorable Speaker, I'm saying each county to be given minimum 6 billion, and then all the resources above, because we say for the 7 times 6 billion, it's about 200 and something billion. The resources, the money above 200 billion, then we share equitable now, which means a county like even Elgeyo-Marakwet County might just get around 500 million. So we get 6.5. Kakamega can get additional 4 billion. They'll get 10. So I didn't say equal. I said we share the first, say 20% or 30% for each county, and then anything above 30%, then we share equitable, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on energy, Honorable Speaker, I was saying, I know there has been, these 7 counties were marginalized, especially in terms of supply of power. So what we need as a country is to have a conversation. How do we deliver the power to these particular marginalized counties? And we cannot do it using the resources that we have, because we don't have enough resources. That is why we are saying we need to embrace BBP. If we go to BIP, then we do basically international expression of interest, because PIPs, we have seen it breeds corruption. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, last but not the least, Senator Wakili Lali.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I also want to make comments on 2 of the statements, and one of which, Mr. Speaker, is the statement and the report by the Health Committee. Mr. Speaker, it's a matter of public notoriety that almost across all the counties in this republic, the health sector is in shambles. It is something that we can no longer take it for granted whenever such reports like what has been tabled by the health committee as regards the visits. The report about Mandera, Marsabit, and Wajir is just an example of what happens across all the counties. Whether it is about expired drugs, that cuts across almost all the counties. Inefficiencies in terms of the work and service delivery to the people. In terms of infrastructure, a complete failure on the part of the county governments to manage this aspect. It was never the intention, Mr. Speaker, of devolution to kill the health sector. When the national government is seeking to reform the SHA and from NHIF, it is aimed at ensuring that service delivery, especially in the health sector, reaches the lowest representations in the society, and that is at the county level. It is expected and was expected that the devolved governments will manage their facilities in such a manner that service delivery in this particular aspect of health is efficient and serves the people. It is very unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, to read the kind of stories that the committee has experienced in their visits. I would have no issue with the health committee having a session with the county governor, sitting down and asking those questions. The unfortunate thing is the situation where the committee, instead of having a very objective engagement with the governor so that they get clarifications on areas of concern, the situation degenerates to what the Honorable Senator from Nandi was saying. It's a photo session. It serves no purpose to go and have a session with the governor when you are unable to inquire and get clarifications on the concerns. Mr. Speaker, the situation cutting across the counties is dire. We appreciate the prompt visits that are done. We appreciate the visits by the committee. Back in the county of Bomet, where I represent, we have almost in all the dispensaries, leave alone the referral hospital that is reported in the papers that it's one of the hospitals that stocks expired drugs. The most unfortunate thing, Mr. Speaker, is a posting on every other social an impromptu visit by part of my office today in the morning in one dispensary called Soimete Dispensary. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, have an experience that they have not been stocked for the last couple of months. In fact, they don't even have Panadol, one of the basic painkiller that is supposed to be available in every hospital. What service they only deliver to the people is immunization, which is not the core. It is not every day that we have children who are being immunized.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. The situation as reported by the Health Committee, Mr. Speaker, is one of those which as a House we must find a means of extending the proposed implementation mechanism so that we put these governors to order and we make sure that they serve our people. We fight every day here to enhance the monies that we take to the counties, and they do. Governor Barchoki in Bomet has a budget of over 2 billion in health, and most of the facilities have got no drugs, have got insufficient infrastructure, have got basically zero service to the people. And so we appreciate the committee and we encourage such additional committees to visit as part of our oversight roles. And it's got nothing to do with politics. It's part of the mandate of this House. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, a comment on the reclassification of hardship areas. The report that we got in terms of Senator, allow me to conclude. The areas of
Senator Sigei, do you want to be informed? Because your time was over.
Mr. Speaker, I wanted to inform Senator Cherogei and Senator Wakile, both, and the House. Mr. Speaker, as a health committee, when we went to visit county, after the visit to the facilities,
Just wait, she is informing.
Mr. Speaker, I'm saying that because it originated from him. So, Mr.
So who are
Speaker,
you
I'm
informing
informing Senator Wakili Segei. Mr. Speaker, as I said, as Vice Chair of Health, we went to the committee oversight the counties, almost 14 counties, Mr. Speaker. When we do our rotation of each facilities, the health facilities, we normally go to the governor to inform him to what we have encountered him, Mr. Speaker, what we have encountered in the facilities. There are some issues which can be immediately be solved. Because like Marsabit County, there are some information which the governor, immediately solve it, Mr. Speaker. That's why we normally go to the governor to brief him what we have encountered in health facilities, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Do you do the courtesy call before the visit or after? Yes, proceed, Senator Sige.
Give me the mic. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Conclude
I appreciate
within 1 minute.
I appreciate the information by the Vice Chairperson of Health Committee, and would wish to encourage them that even prior to making whatever courtesy call or a visit to inform the governor, the impromptu visits in most cases will facilitate the actual experience that you would get, rather than the visit that you would have a session and they will direct you to places where they have pre-programmed on what experience you will get when you visit the facility. But otherwise, I want to encourage the Health Committee to continue doing the visits to the counties. Mr. Speaker, I was commenting on the hardship, reduction of the hardship funding as well as reclassification of hardship areas. This, Mr. Speaker, particularly with the report that came and from the statement of Senator Kisang, has disadvantaged very key and critical areas that have previously benefited from the hardship classification procedure that was in existence before. I would like Senator Kisang to pursue a situation where if the policy that led to that classification being pushed and published now, and I know it reclassifies and denies other institutions and areas opportunities to benefit, we have a right to participate in ensuring that areas that previously benefited has created some legitimate expectation from workers and civil servants working there and also the residents. And such areas should not be denied that benefit, even if there is need for a reclassification process. In fact, it should be enhanced rather than it being reduced, so that we don't have areas that previously benefited losing their benefit out of this new policy. Mr. Speaker, I thank you and I rest.
Thank you, Honorable Senators. We now go back to the business of the day. We proceeded up to order number 10. Therefore, order number 11, we defer order number 11, 12, and 13. So, clerk, call out the next order.
Order number 14, the Sports Amendment number 2 Bill, Senate Bills number 45 of 2024, second reading, resumption of debate.
On this particular order, this bill, Senator Chalgei, you are seconding, and you have 11 minutes, balance of 11 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, as I proceed to second this bill on establishment of sports academies on various, Mr. Speaker, in our counties. Mr. Speaker, you know we are struggling with the restless and energetic young people who want to exploit and explore their talent. And the only way to enhance the functionality, the issues of talent in our counties, Mr. Speaker, is establishing of sports academies. Mr. Speaker, yesterday evening, I was a bit disappointed after FC Barcelona lost against Inter Milan yesterday by aggregate of 6-7 goals. And I was excited by one of the prolific player called Yamal Lamine, whose roots are from Morocco and Equatorial Guinea, because the mother comes from Equatorial Guinea and the father comes from Morocco. Yamal Lamine performed extremely well yesterday, and to my own opinion, he was the man of the match. And he's only 17 years old. I went and looked at the background of this prolific master, grandmaster of the game, football, yesterday, Mr. Speaker, and I found out that Yamal Lamine studied in a sports academy called La Masia, which the most expensive sports academy in Europe that uses £5 million to run it. And then I went back and I realized that academy has produced one of the best players of all times, the Goat, greatest of all time, Mr. Speaker, called Lionel Messi. Although so far Yamal Lamine has outpaced pace in terms of performance, at that age of 17 years, yesterday he did and I would have wished to see him in UEFA finals. And I hope today the Arsenal will not disappoint me when they play with PSG in the evening from 10 p.m. Kenyan time. And most of those players that you see playing on the field, especially for people who are football lovers like me, most of them have gone to academies, sports academies. It is sad, for example, Nandi is declared as the source of sports, source of champions, yet we don't have a functional sports academy or even a stadium. Yet most of the performance, even in North Rift, Cameroon Stadium, talk about stadium in Eldoret, talk about Kipchoge Keino Stadium. In fact, the worst that Governor Sang has done is to relocate Kipchoge Stadium into some forest. Yet it is the landmark, it is the history and the heritage of athleticism in that region. For example, in North Rift, Mr. Speaker, including Meru and Kisii, we should be having sports academy. I saw one in high altitude called Chakayati in Uasin Gishu County, which is ongoing the construction, Mr. Speaker. We need to have sports academy. Most of the young people, Mr. Speaker, in Nandi depend on sports, especially athletics, unvaluable, Mr. Speaker. So we should, in fact, Bono was still here, Kakamega County, they have the best footballers, Vihiga. In fact, we don't need a law to direct counties or to legislate for counties to get opportunity. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, looking at this performance of even the, we like watching European football. You know, the other day, Gor Mahia and Shabana, there was chaos in Gusii Stadium, Mr. Speaker. There is a lot of huge potential. Mr. Speaker, it is sad that most of the potential we see in Kenya Secondary Schools Association sports disappear after Form 4, Mr. Speaker. We need to tap that. Even in sports, even in music festivals, where do the children who are at the top will go after Form 4? Where do the greatest footballers? We thank the one called Kibet that was lucky to join Spanish Academy, and a number, I think 3 after the sports event in Kakamega of secondary schools. Where do our young people go? Mr. Speaker, when you see most of the senators seated here, some of them were greatest footballers during their time. Some of them were great athletes. But because they didn't have an opportunity to be professional athletes or sportsmen and women, they ended up in Senate. Mr. Speaker, some of these people, their calling is totally different. They are working with another calling, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, the establishment of sports academies should and must be looked at and ensure counties do these things. Mr. Speaker, sports is a concurrent function. I want to thank His Excellency the President. As I was driving through Ngong Road, you can see Talanta City Stadium is taking shape. And it is what we have seen Kasarani coming up. Mr. Speaker, and the President has committed that at least every county. I am happy Kinoru Stadium in Meru is doing very well, but it needs upgrading, Mr. Speaker, to receive international standards in Kinoru Stadium, Mr. Speaker. We have one in Nyeri. We want to keep Kibrogod Stadium in Kericho, Mr. Speaker, so that our young men and women, the energy that we see in social media, that young people are using, most of the young people are using in social media, Mr. Speaker, to write unpalatable things online. They can use the same energy to go and play football, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, we must agree that as counties, it is unfortunate that my county, when it was being designed, it should be source of champions, but Governor Sang has done it into source of corruption because of lack of even sporting facilities, Mr. Speaker. Even converting a whole facility into a marketplace. Yet Nandi is synonymous with sports, in terms of sports, Mr. Speaker. And this, Mr. Speaker, even the issue of doping and menace that is affecting our young people. We must agree, I want to appeal, because Kenya might be on the red on issues of doping. I want to appeal, Mr. Speaker, to our sportsmen and women and anti-doping agency, ADAC, to be on the lookout and ensure we arrest the issue of doping menace in our country. Even as we establish these sports academies, we must vet the trainers, the coaches, Mr. Speaker. The coaches. Today, Mr. Speaker, in the morning, and I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Deacon Mike Songkok and a number of deacons and seminarians who are graduating at St. Thomas of Aquinas Seminary in Karen, that was presided over by His Grace Lord Bishop Obala Owa, the Bishop of Ngong Diocese. And he was talking about the formation. You have to agree that the Catholic Church has a unique way of doing formation of their priests, their sisters, their brothers in the brotherhood, Mr. Speaker. And he was talking about the vetting of the formators. They are called the trainers. So they must be people who are beyond reproach. There are people who are teaching the doctrine of the church. For example, he was using the Catholic Church, Mr. Speaker, that was being presided today by Bishop Owa of Ngong Diocese, Mr. Speaker. The same thing with the vetting of our sports academies. Mr. Speaker, are you aware some people working through tourist visa, through JKIA, 2 weeks later, they are training at least in Iten. In Iten. Mr. Speaker, which country are we? In fact, Tanzania today, if you walk to Tanzania and you don't have a visa, you will never finish 2 hours before being deported. But Kenya, somebody lands in JKI as a tourist, he goes to Iten, he goes to Nandi Hills, he goes to Kaptagat and start training. And at the end of the day, making sure that they promote doping, Mr. Speaker. Even here in Nakuru, somewhere in Keringet, the training high altitude areas, Mr. Speaker. It is very unfortunate. The government and the anti-doping agents must come out strongly, Mr. Speaker, and ensure. Mr. Speaker, secondly, and therefore, I want to agree with, and I'm happy Senator Kisang is in the House, because I know he suffers most, especially with trainers that are not appropriately trained and fitted, Mr. Speaker. Even on the issue of hardship allowance, Mr. Speaker, I don't allow hardship allowance to be removed. Even in Nandi, we want places like Terik Ward, like Kapchorwa, like Soba Songo, Mr. Speaker, to be put, and even Chepterwa as part of the hardship allowances for teachers and civil servants. Even in Bomet, areas like Chepalungu, Mr. Speaker, where you come from, they must be given hardship allowance. That comment was made in bad faith by the CS of Education. He must retract, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, finally, as I finish to second, I saw the Deputy Minority Whip today in the House saying that there is no broad-based government. We have a broad-based government. This broad-based government has brought equity and equality in terms of service provision under President William Ruto and Raila Amolo Odinga, Mr. Speaker. And it is unfortunate that Senator Sifuna can use the floor of the House, yet he was the Secretary General of ODM that we went and signed in the KICC, Mr. Speaker, and signed broad-based government, Mr. Speaker. If he has a problem with CSOPO and I, if he has a problem with John Mbadi, those are political differences that they should do in funerals and rallies during the weekend. He should not, and he should respect the president, Mr. Speaker. And you saw Senator Oburu Odinga spoke eloquently and powerfully before President Ruto in Migori and said that the ODM and UDA are working through broad-based arrangement, including establishing of sports academies in our counties, Mr. Speaker, where the audacity of lecturing and saying there is no broad-based government, Mr. Speaker. If he wants to leave ODM, Mr. Speaker, and if you want to know what Raila thinks, listen to Senator Oburu. If you want to read the body language of Raila Odinga, listen to John Mbadi, Mr. Speaker. It is very critical, Mr. Speaker. I'm making a very pregnant point. Can you add me 1 minute so that I can conclude by seconding, Mr. Speaker? So if you can see at those body languages of Oburu, of Mbadi, of Junaid Mohammed, If you see Junaid Mohammed speaking, no Raila is speaking. I'm warning Senator Sifuna to tread very carefully. His future in ODM looks bleak. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to second.
Honorable Senators, I now propose the question that the Sports Amendment number 2, Bill, Senate Bills number 45 of 2024 be now read a second time. I will allow Senator Kisang to, yes, Senator Kisang to contribute.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support the Sports Amendment Bill that is before the House, Honorable Speaker, to set up sports academies in our counties. Honorable Speaker, if you scan across the country, the only sport that is still booming or basically doing well in the country is athletics. And the reason why athletics is doing well, Honorable Speaker, it is because it is individual based. It is up to the athlete to train maybe with the team managers and coaches, and they work out on their own. But if you check the other sports, Honorable Speaker, you check tennis, cricket, football, you know we are doing badly, Honorable Speaker, because of mismanagement by either the sports, I don't know if it is the sports ministry also, and also those who are basically elected to steer and drive this particular sports, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, with the proposal to set up sports academies in our counties, our constituencies, Honorable Speaker, it will basically promote and enhance and professionalize and nurture talent at an early age for our youth, Honorable Speaker, because we have a big problem of unemployment. And sports is one of the areas where talent can be nurtured, and our youth and sports women and men can't make money and get resources to build themselves, Honorable Speaker. I remember, Honorable Speaker, when we were in primary schools, even high school, schools like St. Patrick's High School in 10, they used to have a particular teacher who was in charge of sports. Like for St. Patrick 10, we had Brother Colm, who used to go around second term when they had athletics across the country to spot talent and pick boys who are doing well, and they'll be admitted to St. Patrick's 10 and pursue the line. Same also with other schools, Honorable Speaker. And we need to go back. We need to go back, spot talent early. We take these youths to a sports academy so that we can have Kenyans playing professionally, both internationally and locally, Honorable Speaker. We have the likes of Diego, the guy who was playing javelin, Honorable Speaker. So it is because we don't have the sports academies, and we are losing. We are losing a lot of talent because we don't have a program on how to spot, how to nurture, so that this can progress. Honorable Speaker, I support this bill, and we want to urge our governors, because sports is devolved. They need to partner with the Ministry of Sports and set up sports academies across the country, Honorable Speaker. They have the resources. In fact, we want to encourage also our members of National Assembly, because in the national government CDF, which basically we are now doing public participation to ensure that we entrench it in the Constitution, there is a percentage, 2% of CDF is dedicated to sports. Maybe we need to enhance it to maybe 5% so that they can partner with the governors to build up sports grounds, and the governors partner with national government to ensure we have stadiums. We have stadiums across the country. It's unfortunately that I know Kipchoge Stadium has been, it was supposed to be rebuilt, modern, to have a modern stadium, to have even a gymnasium, and have even a sports academy attached to it. Same with Cameroon, Honorable Speaker. Luckily the other day, things there are tenders that went out, and I hope the contractors who are coming will be put in place, will do a good job, so that our athletes can have somewhere to train. Honorable Speaker, there is something that Senator Jerargei brought it up, Honorable Speaker. As a country, there are many foreigners who are training in our high altitude grounds, especially in Iten. There are those who are training in Kapsabet, others are training across the country, Nakuru, Nanyuki, and some of them are coming to the country without proper paperwork. Some come as tourists, they train, but basically training is not tourism. So we need to put in also mechanisms in place so that the counties and the country can get revenue while these athletes are coming to train in our country. And some of them have even come and trained, and they have somehow, when they go to compete internationally, they have beaten our athletes, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it is important that when the country is planning on issues, they need to be careful. We should not rush some things, Honorable Speaker. In fact, I was very surprised. If you go to that region, the North Rift region, you go to Turkana County, Honorable Speaker, West Pokot, you go to Elgeyo Marakwet County, some areas, they have talked about your area in Chabalungu. I don't know where does the executive, especially the CSS, come up with just some funny policies in the morning and say, from tomorrow, we are not doing this. So they need to know that the country is in a different era. We have a new constitution where public participation is paramount. As we do even these sports academies, we want to urge the ministry that is responsible and the counties to do proper public participation so that the people are involved. The people make a decision where the sports academies are located in the counties. For Elgeyo Marakwet County, basically, we've had small holiday academies in Capture of Girls, Moi Capture of Girls in the Sengwer ward of Elgeyo Marakwet County. We have some in Iten. So basically, we want to ask the ministry and the counties that they sit down, do public participation, so that we identify areas where these sports academies can be put, and we nurture talent. Let our youth make money. Honorable Speaker, even as they do this, we also want to send a warning, especially to those who are responsible for especially this particular reclassification of areas from hardship to non-hardship. They say moderate hardship and then severe hardship. Elgeyo Marakwet County has been affected severely by insecurity. There is a lot of drought. We have 3 regions. We have an hanging valley in Elgeyo Marakwet County where there are no roads. And how do these particular people expect that civil servants and teachers, even our nurses, will not benefit from hardship allowance because of, because I don't know how they arrived to say that Elgeyo Marakwet County does not deserve to be an hardship area or region. Was there any public participation? There was none. So basically, we want to give a warning that as leaders from regions that they want to remove from hardship, that we are watching you. You need to rethink what you've done and basically rescind your decisions, because we don't want our people to go back to the streets. The payslips are already suffering. We have housing levy deductions. We have share deductions. We have NSSF deductions, and then you want to remove hardship allowance? For God's sake, I don't think the people will accept this. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support the sports amendment bill.
Thank you, Senator Kisang. I'll call upon Senator Mugatana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this bill, the Sports Amendment Bill number 2, of 2024, it seeks to amend the main Sports Act by inserting an amendment after Section 38, which basically, Mr. Speaker, seeks to make it mandatory that each county shall establish a sports academy. Mr. Speaker, I have the one single fortune of having a daughter who is studying right now in Madrid, Spain, in one of the universities that is sponsored by one of the big football clubs in the world. And they have not just a sports academy, not just a football academy, but they also have a university that is dedicated towards sporting activity. So, Mr. Speaker, I have a little bit of experience of how a sports academy should look like. Mr. Speaker, this law has come at a good time in this country. And Mr. Speaker, it has come at a good time in this country because many of our youths, Mr. Speaker, have not been supported in their talents. Those who have musical talents have gone on into the digital space and they have been able to make a living out of it. But Mr. Speaker, those with football talent, running talent, Mr. Speaker, it has been very difficult. Volleyball talent, swimming talent, it has been very difficult unless you come from a privileged family. It is impossible for you to make it. I remember, Mr. Speaker, when I had an office practicing as a lawyer somewhere in up the road in Kikuyu, a branch of my legal office. I remember one young man coming to see me, and he told me, I have a talent for running, but I don't have anybody to stand for me. And you know how we got to know each other? He was washing my car, and I saw something different about him. So when I was engaging him, he told me, I'll come to see you in your office so that I can explain to you my predicament and why I wash cars. I wash cars because I'm trying to raise money so that I can go out and run in a paid race. So as I'm washing these cars, I'm also trying to get good food for eating so that I'm able to eat the way it is required. I'm hardly able to pay my coach, and I ran away from the first person who sponsored me because it was exploitative. He made me sign a contract that when I go to run and I become number 2, he takes almost everything because I didn't know when I started running about anything about the sports business. So I lost and I didn't make money. So I terminated that contract, and now I'm trying to freelance and looking for people to support. I did what I could with that young man. But Mr. Speaker, first of all, let us state that when this law becomes, when this bill becomes law, we are now going to have sports academies, not football academies. A lot of people in Kenya confuse sports with football or with athletics. No, it's not running and footballing alone. Sports academy means a place where all the talents and in various sporting activities will be congregating and training. And Mr. Speaker, this law will be saying that counties will have to establish at least one sports academy. And Mr. Speaker, the law inserts in the Sports Act the requirement that the counties must set up a county academy management committee for sports. And Mr. Speaker, for the first time, when this law takes effect, we will see, even in a place like Tana River County, a a center where people with talent, people who can run, people who can swim, people who can play volleyball, people who can do archery, and other talents will be gathered at the cost of the county, so that the sports and the talents that are in that county, Mr. Speaker, are exploited. Mr. Speaker, the talents that exist amongst our youth are able to be developed. Mr. Speaker, I have just given an example of that young man who was, running, and he wanted a sponsor who would help him to be able to go outside the country and make a living. I tried to help him, but you see, Mr. Speaker, when help is not institutionalized, then it's a one-off, and it is not sustainable in that manner. Mr. Speaker, this bill provides an opportunity where people or young men and women who have talent are able to be given opportunities, Mr. Speaker, to grow their talent and make a living out of those talents. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that when these sports academies are being set up across the counties, as is proposed in this bill, it is not just the young people who are running, the young people who are talented in football, volleyball, netball, basketball, and so on, who will benefit. Mr. Speaker, the economy of sports is a very big economy, very big economy. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the provisions of this act, it says there will be, as an objective of the academy in the county, the need to collaborate with the academy in talent development within that county. Mr. Speaker, I have come to discover that those talented people, they don't just need the coach who takes them early morning run and tells them you have to go to the boardroom to read the tactics of what happens in the field, and tells them you have to be in the field and shoot this amount of baskets. You have to keep on practicing until there is a muscle retention of memory through practice. Not just that, coach, Mr. Speaker. The economy of sports, Mr. Speaker, is very wide. There are psychologists in sports, people who actually study the psychology of sports, and they are there to talk to athletes. Mr. Speaker, it will provide employment opportunities to those people who are specializing in those areas. It would open our economy to those capacities so that they can be built within this Republic of Kenya and maybe exported to other places. Mr. Speaker, some of these sporting talents, the talented young men and women, they get injured, very injured, not just in the field physically. Some of them are injured emotionally. Some of them suffer the normal problems we all suffer. And Mr. Speaker, societal problems affect them and affect peak performance. So when a sports psychologist is sitting with you and helps you to recover, you may have gone through grief, you may have lost a very important game that has made you feel so low, so you are nursing depression. And this sports psychologist is telling you, my friend, you can recover. You can recover your form. You still have many football years to play. You still have many days in your basketball. You still have a lot of running days. They have all this technology, Mr. Speaker, that they use on these sports people, and they help them to perform to their peak. Mr. Speaker, sports psychologists will have opportunities in 47 counties, and they will be able to train these people. Even those who are not necessarily having any problems, there are those, Mr. Speaker, who for one reason or another, their performance has dipped. And this we experience everywhere, even in our academics. When we were growing up, sometimes things happen. For whatever reason, you are not able to hit your number 1 or number 2 or number 3 as is your usual. You sit with someone who talks to you, who understands you. And Mr. Speaker, what am I saying? I'm saying these academies in 47 counties will create a whole new capacity in the sports economy in this Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, there are physiotherapists. And as I'm speaking now, Mr. Speaker, I'm speaking as the chair of the Bunge Sports, of the Senate Sports Committee. And Mr. Speaker, the Senate Sports Club, we have a lot of members here who participated in the games. And many of them, some of them, suffered injuries. In fact, I know of a friend, member of National Assembly, who has since December last year still has undergone at least 4 surgeries on his knee for purposes of recovering from the injury he suffered in football. Mr. Speaker, physiotherapists, sports therapists, people who know about how to deal with sports injuries, Mr. Speaker, this is an area 47 counties will open up so that the sports economy in this country will start to develop at a tremendous age. And Mr. Speaker, this will give us a huge edge because there is no such law within our neighboring countries. And Mr. Speaker, when you look at what this will do, it will create huge opportunities, Mr. Speaker, for all these people who are associated with sports, the people who are training these people, the people who are treating them, those who are dealing with them mentally, those who are dealing with them physically. Mr. Speaker, even teams that believe in God or they have put gods in their whatever, you will see that there will be job creation for chaplains, for those of us who are Christians. But you have also seen in some of these, especially West African countries, where even those people, you know, with believing in ATR, African traditional religions, they bring their mascots and they pray. That is job creation within the sports academy. Mr. Speaker, I say that we shall develop capacity. We shall grow the whole sports economy within the Republic of Kenya. And we shall even be able to export sporting management capacity. Because, Mr. Speaker, we have said within this county sports academy, there will be management created. And once you have managed a sports academy in Kenya, especially in some of these big counties, you can manage even a sports academy in any other country across Africa. Mr. Speaker, I believe that this law will create great opportunities that will be used to grow the entire sports economy. Mr. Speaker, one of the things this bill is also seeking to do is to involve the local community in county academies activities. Mr. Speaker, when you look at what that means, it means in various villages in a county such as Tana River County, you will be having local communities being called to support that academy. And how do they support the activities of that academy? If that academy is set up in one of the constituencies in Tana River County, the people who are camping there, Mr. Speaker, will need food supplies. They will need clothing supplies. They will need water supplies. They will need even medical supplies. Mr. Speaker, these are business opportunities for the local communities that will be surrounding these sports academies. Mr. Speaker, can you imagine all the suppliers across the 47 counties will be having a place where they are taking foods. Mr. Speaker, employees associated with sports, like nutritionists also, Mr. Speaker, will be in those academies. Mr. Speaker, I really believe that this is a good bill that the Senate has brought, and I want to congratulate the committee, the senators who have come together. I think it is Honorable Chimera and Honorable Tom Ojienda who have come together to put up this bill and help develop the entire sports economy across the 47 counties. Mr. Speaker, I really think this is one of those bills that will be a game changer once it becomes law. And I want to sit down appealing to members of the Senate who will be speaking to this bill that we should support this and pass it without much ado. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunities to contribute. Thank you.
Senator Karen Nyamo. Senator Karen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. This bill proposes to create sports academies in all our devolved units, all our 47 counties. For a long time in the country, we have decried the quality of players and the quality of performance by our national teams. And so this is an opportunity for Kenya to scout sports talent from quite an early age and from the grassroots where sports is, Mr. Speaker. Talent is mainly at the slums and at our villages, Mr. Speaker. I want to say that sports academies have been a preserve of the rich, owing to the fact that they are run as money-making entities. And therefore, if you come from the slums or if you come from the village, you stand no chance to join a sporting academy. In Nairobi, we have a model of what this bill proposes, what it can do and the impact it can have in society. The Mathare Youth Sports Association, popularly known as MISA, formed by a Canadian, Bob Munro, who passed away recently, God rest his soul, has had far-reaching impact in Nairobi. Children from the slums joined this sports association as early as 6 years, and it majorly targets or majors on football. The impact MISA has had in Nairobi, and Nairobi, the landscape even of our young people, is something that we would want to see replicated in the villages once this law comes into force. It is worth noting that from this sports association, it has produced players that made our national team. Dennis Oliech is from MISA, Tetas Mulama, Jamal, Malo, etc., Mr. Speaker. I think we need to support this amendment as a house because it will impact overall on the quality of players because we will create a larger pool right from the grassroots. And it will impact to the quality of our national teams. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to support. Thank you.
Senator Osotsi Godfrey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a very, very progressive bill, a bill on Sports Act that actually seeks to amend the Sports Act so that we can have county sports academies. Mr. Speaker, you know that a few days back we passed the bill by Senator of Nairobi, Senator Edwin Sifuna, to provide for county sports association in the Sports Act. And now we are debating the bill by Senator Ujenda and Senator Chimera to amend the Sports Act so that we can have county sports academies. Mr. Speaker, this is a clear indication that there is need to do an overhaul of the current Sports Act, because the current Sports Act was actually enacted in February 2013. That was during the last days of Honorable Mwai Kibaki, and it was seeking to actualize the proposals that are contained in Vision 2030. Vision 2030 provided for the sports academies as part of the social pillar of the Vision 2030. Mr. Speaker, that did not take into account the provisions of the Constitution, the 2010 Constitution, that provides that sports is one of the shared functions of the county government and the national government. Mr. Speaker, while serving as a member of National Assembly, nominated member of National Assembly, I sponsored a motion which was overwhelmingly passed by the National Assembly to create sports academies in every constituency, in the 290 constituencies in Kenya. And I am happy that my motion was passed, and the Ministry of Sports actually has made some steps to try and implement the vision that I had in my motion. But, Mr. Speaker, it's taking quite a long time to realize that vision fully, because I know we have the Kenya Sports Academy, which is in Kasarani, but the plan was to have regional sports academies, and then thereafter have county sports academies, and then thereafter have the constituency sports academy. And I know some budget has been appropriated in this program, but on the ground, Mr. Speaker, very little is happening. For example, in my county, we had this fanfare of launching the Joka Denge Sports Academy. But Mr. Speaker, if you go there, very little is happening there. And I think we must remove this notion that a sports academy must be an issue of brick and mortar, putting their structures and all that. I think we need to focus more on the soft side of the sports academy. We have schools which already have facilities for sports, Mr. Speaker. This can naturally become sports academies. For example, in our region in Western, we have Kakamega High School, we have Chavakali High School, we have Musingo High School, we have Kamusinga. Schools that are known for excelling in sports. This can naturally be identified as centers of sports excellence, where the government can provide things like coaches, trainers, maybe sports medics, psychologists, and also provide other facilities like training kits and all manner of merchandise that is used in sports, Mr. Speaker. So this fixation with the idea that a sports academy has to be brick and mortar, where buildings have to be set up and all that, I think that is what is delaying us actualizing this good idea of having sports academy. We need to use the facilities which exist at the moment and only provide the softwares that are required in these facilities, and we will make progress. If you go to other countries that have excelled in sports academies, for example, the West Africa countries, Ghana, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, they do not necessarily have places where they call, now this is a sports academy. They are using the existing facilities. And when we talk about sports academy, Mr. Speaker, it should not just be about sports alone. We need to have some form of learning happening in these academies. And that naturally means that we just adapt the schools that are there to become sports academies and provide the necessary facilities, the necessary resources, and that would be the most convenient and the most speedy way of implementing the sports academy. Mr. Speaker, even as we talk about amending this Sports Act and having sports academy, we need to ask ourselves, how are these academies going to be funded, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, when I was contributing to the bill by Senator Sifuna, I said it was so unfortunate that the Uhuru government decided to delete the entire Section 12 of what used to be the original Sports Act that provided for the National Sports Fund and replace it with a regulation, Public Finance Management Regulation 2018, through legal notice number 194. It was so unfortunate. And that happened because the government then realized that that sports fund had attracted a lot of money from taxes and from levies arising from betting, lotteries, and all that. So they decided, they salvated for that money, and they decided to come up with an amendment to delete the entire Section 12 that called for the creation of the National Sports Fund and create another animal called Sports Art and Social Development Fund through a regulation, Public Finance Management Regulation 2018. Mr. Speaker, if you look at how they are proposed to share the proceeds of that fund, you will be surprised that 60% of that money is now directed to universal health care. What does universal health care to do with the sports, Mr. Speaker? Only 5% of that money goes to sports development and promotion. 20% goes to development of arts. 5% goes to strategic intervention by the Cabinet Secretary. Mr. Speaker, this is now why some of us think President Kibaki had a good vision for this country. But the people who took over from Kibaki are visionless. Because how do you now divert funds that were meant for sports and take it to other things which are not sports related? And now, I think one of the things we need to do, even as we seek to amend the Sports Act, is for the Delegated Legislation Committee to pick this regulation, Public Finance Management Regulation 2018, and annul it, because it is not serving the purpose. It is against the youth of this country. It is against the development of sport. We cannot be appropriating 60% of this money to go to universal health care, while at the same time we are going for people's payslip to tax them on SHA and SHIF. This is the time, now that we are taxing people on SHA, we need to annul this and take this 60% of this money to sports, back to sports. The other issue that I think it is important, apart from funding, is that we cannot have a vibrant sports academies in this country if we do not develop the federations, sports federation. And that's why Senator Edwin Sifona's bill was very timely, that we need to develop federations. Federations in this country must be self-sustainable. They should be in a position to sponsor people to go for international competitions, for regional competition. And the money is there in the sports fund. But that money is going to other things which are not sports related. The other thing, Mr. Speaker, which we need to do is we need to promote our clubs. Some of our clubs are struggling, Mr. Speaker. A club like Gor Mahia, for example, a club that are huge, and FC Leopards, which have huge heritage in this country, are dying because of funding issues. And the money is there. We need to say that every year, the clubs that qualify for leagues, Division 1 up to Super League, must receive a substantial amount of money from this fund so that they can survive. Many of us in our counties, every weekend, you get messages of clubs asking you to sponsor them. They are stranded. They need money to go and play a game in Mombasa. They have no money, Mr. Speaker. So we cannot have a situation where we have done so well on sports academies, but we have nowhere to take this youth after the sports academy. We need to have clubs which are ready to take them on. And we also need to have strong federations which will be there to support that particular sports. So I just want to remove the notion that one, sports academy is about brick and mortar, and I also want to remove the notion that the sports academy should be separate from the schools. Mr. Speaker, if you go to countries like Spain and even Britain, you find that the sports academy, and I know some of us have taken our children there to go and learn in those academies. They are also schools. They have an academic program, and they also have a sports program. So naturally, what I'm trying to say, Mr. Speaker, is that our decision makers must think well and look at the schools that we have in each county, identify those schools to be centers of sports excellence, and provide them with all the facilities they need so that to become great sports institution. Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether members have had an opportunity to watch the ongoing under-20 tournament in Egypt. You look at the quality of play. And today in Nigeria, Kenya is playing against Nigeria. I ask you to watch that game, Mr. Speaker. You will be surprised that the quality of talent we have in Africa is immense, Mr. Speaker. And this is because most of those countries have developed sports academies. Kenya can do well, Mr. Speaker, if we manage our sports well, if we have properly organized and structured and funded sports academy, we will be able to tap that talent in the villages. And sometimes when you go to the village to watch village soccer, you see some quality there. And you wonder why people are not able to scout these players to play for big clubs. It's because we don't have a structure on even scouting for players to go and play for those big clubs or to go and represent us. And Mr. Speaker, when we talk about sports academy, we should not be fixated with soccer only. Let us look at other sports, Mr. Speaker. Rugby, for example. And in the region where I come from, we are naturally rugby players because of the muscle that we have. Eh? So we need to identify each area and know which area can do what sport. For example, I know like sports like high jump. The Maasais can do better in that. We need to go there and establish a sports academy for such kind of games. Eh? And many other areas. Many other areas that we know naturally, like where Rift Valley. Rift Valley is largely athletics. We need to go there and establish athletics sports academies so that now we have a diversity of sports and not just football. And if we do that, this country can earn a lot of money in foreign exchange through sports. There are countries which have developed because of sports, Mr. Speaker. And if you want to know how sports is important, Mr. Speaker, look at Eldoret Town, Mr. Speaker. One of the reasons of why Eldoret Town has grown is because of the influx of money from sports, athletics. You can imagine if that was happening all over the country, like in Vihiga where people are very good in soccer, we would have serious development because of sports. So let us look at sports as a matter of economic growth. Let us look at sports as a matter of dealing with the youth problem in this country, unemployment, crime, and such. And if we do organize ourselves well, Mr. Speaker, we will be able to become a sports giant, not just in Africa, but in the world. Mr. Speaker, I want to propose that even as I support this bill, I want to call for an overhaul of the entire Sports Act to align it to the Constitution and it also to align it to the realities of our time and also to provide a proper financial model on how sports are going to be funded. And then also we annul those regulations which were designed just to support the Big Four without looking at the initial vision that President Kibaki's government had to support the sports and implement the Vision 2030. Mr. Speaker, with those views and remarks, I want to support and ask the other members to also support this very progressive bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Osotsi. Senator Maureen Mutinda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to really start by appreciating.
Senator Osotsi. Order, please. Allow Senator Mutinda to be heard in silence.
My former chair, and the way I was so keen listening to the party leader. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to start by really appreciating Senator Ojenda and Senator Chimera for coming up with this bill. It's a very important bill, Mr. Speaker. Looking at it from the perspective of both academy and the talent point of view, whereby our young people will be able to nurture their talents, more specific, the sports talent, at a younger age. Mr. Speaker, last time when we were looking at Senator Sifuna's bill, the sports bill, as far as the issue of funding is concerned, I gave an example of the Mutei Grannies Football Club. This is a club of football of women aged between 52 years and 75 years who've been playing at that age, at this age, and they were able to win. They were able also to go to South Africa, and emotionally they really were so excited. And you ask yourself, Mr. Speaker, if they had an opportunity to start, one, at a very young age, and two, to be able to get an institution, an academy, that they can be able to nurture their sports skills at an early age, Mr. Speaker, then we would have really impacted our young people very much. Mr. Speaker, you know, sports have been looked at as if it's the male-dominated field. But the same sports also, the girl child is in a position to be able to play different sports. And I would also want to encourage, through this bill, that young girls also to come out when these academies are in place to be able to get the adequate training, adequate skills, to be able to nurture their talents, because also girls are coming up very well nowadays. I'm the patron of Kayole Starlets, Mr. Speaker, and I'm very proud. Last 3 weeks ago, when I met them with the FKF president, Mr. Mohammed, and we were able to support them. FKF was also able to support them, both financially and also with the kids. I mean, I look at these young girls, you know, the energy that they have. They've decided to, apart from their school work, their academy work, to engage in the football sports, you know, and they're at the premier level. And they started early. So if we have a bigger number of these young girls at an early age, they definitely will be taking our younger generation to greater heights, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've looked at the bill. Clause 381 talks about a person shall be qualified for an appointment as a manager of a county academy if that person has a degree from a university recognized in Kenya. You know, Mr. Speaker, this is where mostly I differ, or my eyebrows get raised, because when we keep on saying just a degree that is recognized, it's one thing to recognize a degree. It's another to have the skills and the knowledge pertaining a specific industry or sector. So it will be good. I wished the members would be here, but because they'll have access to the Hansard, then it should not just be a recognized degree, but it should be a degree, either a management degree, because you're talking about a manager. You know, if you have a theology degree, then how does that relate to sports and the management skill that is needed? So it will be good to specify, because I've seen in a previous clause, 38C, 2A, a chairperson should hold a degree from a recognized in Kenya and is knowledgeable in sports, finance, commerce, law, you know, appointed by the governor. This one specifies. So if this specification is already in place, then even in clause 3811A, that specialization should be brought out. And I think that's why when we are doing our degree level, definitely there's what you call specialization. You have to do a specialization. There's a reason why we do specialization. So that should be very important, Mr. Speaker. No, sports should not be just about football. Because when you talk about sports, mostly what comes to most people's mind is football is sort of the main sport. There are so many other different sports. Apart from volleyball, basketball, and all that, we have new sports that are nowadays in place that should also be encouraged. Could be indoor, could be outdoor, but our young people should be able to be encouraged through this academy, sports academy institutions. They continue nurturing their talent. I've listened to Senator Sosi when he made a point in terms of buildings, you know. We do not need, you know, how you pass a knowledge, it doesn't mean that you need to be confined in specific rooms, in specific spaces. The skill knowledge should be passed by, of course, the relevant qualified personnel, and the people who are receiving the same knowledge and skills should be ready to receive that. What am I trying to say? We have our learning institutions. Case example, the primary school. Like here in Nairobi, you know, we have over, 100 primary schools, there's high schools. When schools have closed, especially during the April, August, December holidays, these schools, these rooms are just not utilized. It will be the best time when this bill passes, like we can start with our own public institutions for these academies to take place. These learning institutions can be utilized, even the universities, even the technical institutions can be utilized to kickstart their academic sports center. We don't need to wait until there's funding, we build big institutions, big rooms here and there. We can start with what we have. We have classrooms, and those classrooms can be used, especially during the holiday period of time. Mr. Speaker, I've looked at also the bill which talks about protection of the minors in sports. It has covered it well, because you find that young people are coming up, but at times they do not have a guardian, an older person who can be able to guide them, an agent who's qualified and who has the same ambition with the academia in matter of sport. You find that young talents, at times, they start very well and at some point they lose it. One of the reasons could be, of course, mismanagement, poor management. And there should be thorough scrutiny, even when these managers are the ones helping these young people to enroll in this sports field. They should be genuine, they should be having the same vision and the same goal with the minor who's talented to be able to perform the different sports activities. At the same time, Mr. Speaker, there is the issue of the mental health cases. We've seen sports whereby people have engaged in different sports, like the boxing activity, whereby after some time, someone is not even able to focus, is not even able to continue this normal life. It could be because of the injuries, So the bill should also bring about the element of how, apart from the way it has covered very well, how minors should have guardians, should be protected, even when they're signing these contracts. There's a guideline. So the owners of the bill should also instill the issue of mental health cases, where we've seen some of the people started very well, and at some point they lost it. You're told that this was a champion, but you look at them after a few years down the line, either the manager misappropriated the funds, there was no correct management, and they lose it, and these are our people. So what happens to the young people who want to emulate and walk the journey? It becomes very discouraging. So mental health should be addressed in this bill, so that sports does not just end at a certain level. We've also seen poor financial management at times with the people who have excelled in sports because of probably big amounts of payment. And then after some time, they just lose it in the way. So the academy should also have a facility that offers the counseling aspect, mental health discussions, financial management discussions of our people, so that they are able to see how do they go to the next level with the right guidance, Mr. Speaker. So I'll say it is a bill that I, as an academician, Mr. Speaker, I fully support, and I hope that the right people, the committee members, the managers, will put the passion as far as sports is concerned, not any other thing ahead, but should put the passion of sports so that we continue nurturing more and more talents. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Hamida Kibwana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just looking at, first I would really, I want to appreciate my two colleagues, Senator Ojenda and Senator Chimera, for this bill. It is a good one, and looking at the bill, the overview, is to amend the Act, Cap 223, by establishing County Sports Academy and providing legal protections for minors in sports. Mr. Speaker, looking at it, for example, the two, that's section 2, key provisions and their relevance. That's county sports academies, section 38A to 38M. The provision reads, mandates each county to establish at least one sports academy with structured training programs, technical staff, and linkages to local communities and international bodies. Mr. Speaker, looking at this, the issues here are many. One, like for example, rising stars from counties like Kericho or Elgeyo Marakwet often move to Nairobi for opportunities, Mr. Speaker. The problems, of course, many counties, especially in northern Kenya, lack basic sports infrastructure, talents, and remote areas remain untapped. It's really unfortunate looking at how these young people struggle, moving from one county to another, just searching for such, and looking at the rising stars. Senator Tabitha just mentioned about the old women footballers, and you can imagine their talents. I mean, so I'm asking myself, were those talents nurtured early enough, or it came, with an old age? Section 2, number 2, on local management and oversight, section 38C and 38F, Mr. Speaker, the provision that each academy is to be managed by a multi-stakeholder community with expertise in sports finance and administration. This one, the real life issue, Mr. Speaker, is that there's mismanagement of county funds that leads to failed youth programs. Then it's never structured in a way that, it can be oversight and can be enhanced with transparency and accountability, Mr. Speaker. Number 3, on inclusion of persons with disabilities, section 38B 2A, that's on academies, provision on academies must accommodate persons with disabilities. The problem here, Mr. Speaker, is that Kenyans Paralympic athletes often face expulsion despite the international success. It promotes inclusivity and aligns with constitutional mandates, Mr. Speaker. Then on protection of minors in sports, section 54A, 54 to 54F, that's a protection against abuse. The provision is institutions must vet coaches, enforce child protection standards, and establish abuse reporting procedures. These allegations, Mr. Speaker, on this, looking at this case, allegations of abuse by coaches in football academies in Nairobi, the impact is that it will establish accountability and professional standard. So we have many challenges out of this, Mr. Speaker. I would like another amendment on education guarantees 54B. The minors must have access to basic education, even in residential academies. The real life link, Mr. Speaker, the problem is the young athletes sometimes drop out of school hoping for trials abroad. But then here, the impact will be to prevent exploitation and ensure fallback options, Mr. Speaker. Number 3 is contractual protection, 54C to 54E, Mr. Speaker. These contracts, as under the provincial, involves minors must be signed by guardians and only valid from age 17. Agents must be accredited. In such cases, Mr. Speaker, there's scam cases, fake international trial offers, conning athletes. This aligns with international best practice, Mr. Speaker, the impact of it. Number 4, Section 4 on Constitution and County Linkage, Mr. Speaker. It confirms that sports and culture activities are county functions under the 4th schedule. This example, Mr. Speaker, many counties lack harmonization with national policies, and the bill provides a national structure. Now, there are many challenges that face such issues, Mr. Speaker. So, on implementation of the potential challenges for funding gaps, capacity issues, and oversight risks. The one, on funding gaps, the counties may lack resources, Mr. Speaker. On capacity issues, there's scarcity of skilled personnel. And oversight risks, the possibilities of nepotism or mismanagement, Mr. Speaker. My recommendation on this, Mr. Speaker, is to ensure conditional grants from the national government to support academy rollout. Mr. Speaker, also we always hide under capacity building, but then I wonder whether, because you find most of the funding or most of the grants actually are always, under capacity building, whether the funding has been utilized or not utilized, but then it's all under the name of capacity building. So, but then looking at the county staff in sports management through a partnership with instructions, that is, for example, KU and Strathmore, what they do. And then establishing a monitoring and evaluation framework under the Ministry of Sports to ensure compliance. Then integrate digital scouting and performance analytics to improve talent identification, prioritizing public participation to align academy programs with youth interests. Now, Mr. Speaker, my final recommendation, because I can see Senator Eddy wants to have his share and introduce his bill, is that the recommendation is to introduce conditional national funding support to counties to set up academies quickly. Use Kenya Academy of Sports to develop a standard curriculum for coaching, and at least have academy management. To digitize scouting through mobile apps and national database, and promote public-private partnership, especially in underfunding counties. Looking at M&E, monitoring and evaluation index to assess each academy's performance, hold annual inter-county academies and talent showcases. Mr. Speaker, I'm looking at also socializing this young souls, just having the social. I remember during our days, we had the time to play kati, netball, that footer, tapo, so we had time to socialize. But this, looking at this young people nowadays, they hardly have time. They only have time with their phones. So I feel strongly that with such, we'll give them time to discover themselves. Mr. Speaker, I am one of them who found myself in sports quite early, and I played basketball. I even found myself playing for the Kenya team basketball. And now I'm the most valuable player in the Senate, playing basketball. Not in the Senate, actually, playing basketball. So I feel seriously these talents should be nurtured early enough. And I started while I was still young. Mr. Speaker, this seriously will also support that early talent identification and nurturing. It will allow those athletes at least to be discovered early, professionally, and be given better career pathways. Mr. Speaker, in universities, you realize even in sports, you find our young people who are in international universities, they find themselves getting scholarship. Just the other day, in fact, my daughter told me that she got a scholarship for her master's, so we don't have to pay her fees. Just because, she involved herself in some curriculum activities and sports. So I feel seriously it's a way of getting our children to. In fact, even the club that I was playing for, Barclays Bank, it's managed to it created space for young people to get jobs, and so many of us were employed by Barclays Bank. So I feel that it is a good bill, and those amendments should be done as soon as possible, so that it can pave way. This amendment also, Mr. Speaker, it's also going to, the bill also, it's going to have equal access, pave way to equal access to opportunities for all counties. Even the marginalized would have formal structures. So we are talking about when you have someone from Northeastern, will have the same support system as a person in Nairobi. And also the structured education and dual careers, that the academies will integrate academic education with sports training, helping young athletes to develop both skills and academic qualifications, Mr. Speaker. Also, I talked about job creation. It shall definitely create local employment and economic activities for our children. Also, one of the skills is also, it's going to improve international sports, local and international sports careers for our children. We have, I think Senator Nyamu has named a few, those who started with Madare, is it Maisa? Madare Sports, and they were quite talented, and most of them moved to greater places. So we are going to, definitely it's going to create a stronger grassroots systems that would eventually improve Kenya's performance in a wider range of sports international for our athletes. Mr. Speaker, I think I have done enough justice to this one, but then I really would request or maybe urge my colleagues I hope they were here to hear such our amendments and to take them into considerations so that at least it will nurture our young people. Mr. Speaker, I support the bill. Thank you.
Senator Hamid, they will definitely get a copy of the Hansard, and what I would urge you to do is to interest them so that they do so and introduce the amendments. But in the event they don't, you can as well introduce them as a member. Remember, you still have an opportunity at the Committee of the Whole. Senator Eddy.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to share some thoughts on this bill. Mr. Speaker, right from the start, I want to say that this is a bill that is well motivated. Well motivated because we have seen the place of sports academy or sport academies in the globe that certainly as a country we need to start emulating. And Mr. Speaker, there is no doubt that sports has become one of the biggest employers, both directly and indirectly, Mr. Speaker. Biggest employers because today we have got journalism that is just based on sport journalism. Today we have got economies that are thriving because of sports, whether you think about creative economy, where artistic elements like jerseys that people use in sports or any other materials that are attached with different clubs, Mr. Speaker, are tied to economic gains. And Mr. Speaker, if you think about the entertainment industry today, you'll find that they thrive on the basis of sports, Mr. Speaker. In fact, I can argue that probably what Europe, and specifically Britain, exports the most into the continent of Africa is probably sports. Because if you look at the English Premier League, Mr. Speaker, as well as even other leagues like the Champions League or the Spanish La Liga league on football front alone, Mr. Speaker, you'll find that the related economies that come with this sport as an industry, Mr. Speaker, is such a big opportunity for employing young people. So the intent of the bill, in terms of just creating opportunity for economic wellness for young people in this country, is indeed one that warms my heart. I know that the authors of the bill have also seen the bill from an angle of being able to deal with a myriad of issues that comprises social problems that we face with our young people. Things like drug abuse and other form of idleness that lead our young people to things like crime in their neighborhoods. This is indeed, Mr. Speaker, a very warmly welcomed vision cast upon this bill. However, Mr. Speaker, to want to think that academies can be run by counties, Mr. Speaker, I think would be a big challenge. It's an outstretch. In fact, I really wish, Mr. Speaker, that the authors of this bill were in these conversations, because sometimes it's very difficult to go back unanswered and sometimes listen to what members have said about this bill. Because, Mr. Speaker, if you want to start thinking about sports academies in the country, the first thing you must ask yourself is that, who do we want to compete with? Do you want to compete with ourselves who do not have sports academies? Or do you want to compete with countries that have made strides in terms of having properly run sports academies? Because sports in itself is such a big area, but also a very small area in terms of opportunity that you can get to for young people. If you think about it, Mr. Speaker, think about the clubs that are playing the Premier League. There are only 20. If you think about the clubs that are playing La Liga, there are only 20. If you think about any top clubs that you think about in the world that are playing any leagues in those respective continental programs of sports, they are so small so that it is very difficult for young people to make it to be able to play in those sports academies. I mean, in those major clubs. So our first understanding, Mr. Speaker, when we think about this, such a bill, must be understanding how the concept of academies are run within the excellences of sports in those particular regions that have made sports such a big economy. I think this is a critical part of structuring the bill. So that when you talk about sports academies, Mr. Speaker, then the structure of ownership must be right from onset, which is why I wanted to say, Mr. Speaker, that the first place that I would want to have a serious amendment on is in the structure of ownership of these clubs. Because what is proposed here, Mr. Speaker, is that counties will seek to establish these sports academies, and then after establishing the sports academies, then if you look at Section 36C, then it establishes something called the committee, which is run by regulation from the national government, and the appointments made by the respective counties' sport committees that then are then to run these clubs. Now, Mr. Speaker, this is like building a house, starting from the wall, going up, instead of starting from the foundation. The foundation of successful academies in Europe that I think that the authors of this bill are admiring, because they are seeing that the academies are doing very well in Europe, and sometimes even in the US, in other sports, and maybe other countries that have ventured into sports. Mr. Speaker, the sporting programs and sporting schemes and youth programs that are structured within what is called academies are actually attached to successful professional clubs in these different countries. So that the first element of a great sporting academy is a successful club. And that means that, Mr. Speaker, the stop gap that we must start with, and the stoppage that we must start with, Mr. Speaker, is to make sure that our clubs, for whichever sport we have, are being run properly. And Mr. Speaker, you and I know that the clubs that we have in the country, whether it's for soccer or for netball for women or for volleyball where Senator Amida thrives, those clubs cannot be run by counties. Those clubs must be run in a semi-autonomous way that appreciates the doctrines of corporate structure that allows them to thrive as academies. Which is why I wish that the authors of this particular bill could sit down with Senator Sifuna, who had authored a bill also which we discussed, I think, about a few weeks ago, that sought to make sure that counties can seclude about 1% of their budget and then invest it into a sports fund that enables the elements of clubs to thrive in our communities. Because that way, you allow for an ownership structure that makes the clubs in our communities very well run, well registered, and think about management that can make them be competitive at a global stage. Because the idea here is to build talent, not for building talent's sake and just for dealing with problems of social nature in our communities, but build talents that can compete at a global stage. Mr. Speaker, how does this look like in Europe? This is not just the idea of having the knowledge of the game that then you want the county to invest in terms of building an academy. It's about being able to have the technical know-how of being able to make a corporate or, if I may, a commercial case for that game to be able to thrive both at our national stage and internationally. For instance, Mr. Speaker, think about it. If you want to give counties the burden of thinking through the schedule of classes for an academic curriculum, you start facing a big problem in terms of even just scheduling those classes, where a young person who needs to go through a sporting academy might also be required to go through a formal schooling system. That will be a problem if the ownership structure is within counties. Think about management bookings, Mr. Speaker. When people in community organizations are playing in the different leagues that we have within our borders and without our borders, the idea of just even settling up on those bookings cannot be done by counties. If you think about just tracking attendance of students within an academy and balancing it out, cannot be done by county committees. Now, Mr. Speaker, Senator Ososia talked about the idea of financing. How do you ensure that you have got a sustainable financing platform for which you run these academies? You can't have a sustainable financing platform if you're going to depend on county government to dig deep into the small amount of money that we send them to fully finance this curriculum. So what you're going to have to face immediately in ownership structure, Mr. Speaker, is that you will have to start expecting that students do some form of payments to these academies. That form of payment, Mr. Speaker, is a progress that counties will find themselves battling, because a county is a political structure, that the payment that you will start requiring for students to pay for this will become a problem. You've seen it even in programs such as even feeding programs in Nairobi, where the portion that students need to pay start becoming a problem. So when it is owned in a private setting, but then enabled by county, by facilitating proper running of clubs, Mr. Speaker, then you'll have some form of subsidies that then go into these private academies that are thriving in counties because their clubs are being run properly. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm talking about this ownership structure that must be predicated upon proper running of our clubs, proper running of Gor Mahia, proper running of Shabana FC, proper running of the Police FC, proper running of even the volleyballs that we are seeing in the country, run by amazing women in the country, Mr. Speaker. If you think about sports, Mr. Speaker, the counties will be confronted by either developing proper facilities for these sports or renting those facilities. The recurring budget in that, Mr. Speaker, will be so humongous that the counties won't even be able to manage. Now, the bill here proposes a management structure that is ordinary. Basically, get somebody with degree that then can be able to run and manage this club just like you are running any other county entity that is established under PFM Act, Section 184. Mr. Speaker, if you do that, how can you guarantee quality and valuable time for the athletes that you want to invest in to compete at a global stage? It will be very difficult. So, Mr. Speaker, the overall comment that I'm making here for the owners of this bill, and I'm glad that Senator Chimera has just walked in, is that this bill must be reviewed starting from the ownership structure that allows the clubs to put a scheme that allows young people to be able to engage in sports. Why this is very important for us, Mr. Speaker, and we have seen it thriving in other places, is because by clubs owning the structure of academies, number one, they will be very clear in terms of their mission and vision. You see, the bill says that there will be a requirement for every single county government to establish at least one sports academy. But how do you vision that? How do you mission that? For instance, if you come from Migori County, where I come from, we have got very many young women who are very good at netball. Equally, we have got very, very good young men who are very good at what I would call volleyball. And yet, we still have very, very, very good young people who are good at soccer. So how do you vision a county being able to put up a soccer structure at the expense of a netball structure? But if you allow netball to be a club by itself, very well run, but supported by county in terms of resources that are given by the county in some subsidized form, then you will have a netball structure that has got a clear vision, a netball club that has got a clear vision, same to a soccer club that has got a clear vision. And you can still have an athletic club that has got a very clear vision and mission that then builds a very competitive team, Mr. Speaker. Because if you look at the team that has been proposed here in terms of management, and I hope that Senator Chimera will look for me so that we sit down and look at what is the minimum viable option of running this sports academy. Mr. Speaker, if you end up just renting an employee to run this or manage these committees, the problem is sport runs on what we call passion. So that a variety of management are actually coaches. They are coaches not just for the technical bit of the sport, but also the mental understanding of these athletes when they are working on developing their talent. So the technical aspect that is required in sporting might not necessarily be the degree that is prescribed here, might not be necessarily the qualification that is prescribed here, but it is the connection, the technical connection, the passion, the valuable time that somebody has spent in sport that allows them be able to connect at the same level with these athletes. And that enables the proper crafting of a compelling curriculum, Mr. Speaker, for what then constitutes that sports academy. Because a sporting academy will not have a typical curriculum like a normal education system. It will require a curriculum based on the technical understanding of this management that you have. And then, Mr. Speaker, what my friends who covered this bill have also talked about that I think is lacking here that needs some amendment is investing in safety. Because a sports person, when they get even a single injury, if they don't get proper treatment, and you've seen me here, Senator Chimera, of course through the speaker, you've seen that when I got into clutches, that by just getting an ACL problem, I was on clutches for almost 12 months, and I'm not even competitive as a professional. I'm not a professional player. So think about safety when these injuries come about. The investment is humongous. That is why ownership structure must go back to clubs, where you can put facilities in terms of resources, you can ensure that there's quality facilities, and even technological know-how. Today, if you go and look at how Arsenal plays, or Manchester plays, or any other team plays, they even have things that monitor their heart rates, their performance on the field, the way they can dash, their endurance in the field. These all are technologies that can make you be possibly even start making waves in the sporting area. And Mr. Speaker,
With that, then you are investing on overall health and wellness of an athlete that can make you be competitive in terms of fostering a more collaborative and community that athletes feel respected about and have values. In fact, when athletes don't feel respected in a space where sometimes this county structure might put them in or feel valued, their morale is always down and they can't compete at a global stage. So think about it from that ownership structure, the authors. We can work on some amendment that allows us to think about that ownership structure. But I certainly feel very, very, very strongly that the ownership of academies must be structured within our clubs, and the county structure that can support that should support in terms of capacity building of those clubs, so that even the marketing element, Mr. Speaker, can be able to be buoyed, because you're not only thinking about having our athletes being in these academies, but also inviting people from outside who might have the same talent, as we are seeing that you'll see Mariga leaving Kenya and going to play for Inter Milan in Italy, and meeting other people from Cameroon, from Zambia, from different places in the continent, Mr. Speaker. And with that kind of diversity pool that is natural in a corporate setting, then you build a proper competing academy. Then you can be able to market these academies and compete at a global stage. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I think this is a brilliant idea, it's a brilliant intention, it's a brilliant motivation, but must be informed by the science of sport by those countries that have made strides within the domain of sports in general, and for me, soccer in particular. I think, yes, I support, but with overly well-drafted amendments that can be able to augment the ownership structure. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Eddy. Now, Honorable Senators, Senator Gloria, you're putting in a request. I do not want to take it to mean that you want to speak to this bill. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this bill, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know that many people imagine that we don't know much about sports, but Mr. Speaker, we are mothers of sons who are actually sportsmen, who play football, who are interested in understanding how they can even join the national, teams that are there, Mr. Speaker. So when I read about this bill and I looked at what is happening currently, Mr. Speaker, I realized that now more than ever, even as women, we have to come on board and support some of the things that have been listed in this bill. Mr. Speaker, there's always an assumption that Kenya, we don't know how to organize our sports, Mr. Speaker. The other day, when we had our team playing against at Nyayo Stadium, Mr. Speaker, I decided that I'm going to go and sit in the stadium, but not at the VIP section, Mr. Speaker, because I wanted to get the authentic experience of what it means to be in Nyayo Stadium where there's a match, so that you can feel, the patriotic Kenyans that have come out to support our team, Mr. Speaker. And you could hear them saying, oh, I know so-and-so from the team. I know this player. We were in school with this player and that player. Oh, and Mr. Speaker, one thing I appreciated in terms of our sports in this country, if there is a unifying factor in this country, Mr. Speaker, it is sports. So a piece of legislation like this that is actually going to ensure that from the grassroots level, we are going to have organized teams. We are going to encourage the youth from the grassroots level to, join the teams and compete and bring that unity, Mr. Speaker. I want to say that I support this bill. And I want to also congratulate Senator Chimera, because I know, Senator Chimera, you had this bill was drafted by you, and I know that there was some input by Senator Sifuna. And I want to say that don't think that, don't leave us out when you're drafting these things. Ask us. Even us, we have some things we would like to add here and there. So congratulations, and I hope that this bill is passed so that our sons, I have a 17-year-old who wants to join the national team as a footballer, can be able to be the beneficiaries of this piece of legislation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, there being no other member who is interested in contributing to the bill, I ask Senator Chimera to reply.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to reply. Let me first begin by appreciating Senator Professor Tom Ojienda for his very invaluable contribution as to the drafting of this bill, Mr. Speaker. And I just spoke to him while I got back here, just to inform him that I don't think he's had a chance to contribute to this bill. But having been my law lecturer, he has assured me that he has full confidence in my ability to prosecute this bill. And as such, I really want to really appreciate and thank Senator Professor Tom Ojienda. Thank you to the senators who have spoken to this bill, Senator Mungatana, Senator Osotsi, Senator Tabitha Mutinda, Senator Karen Nyamu, Senator Hamida, Senator Eddie Okech, Senator William Kisang, and my very good friend, Senator Gloria Uroba. I actually didn't imagine Senator Uroba would be interested in matters of sports until she confirmed to us that, and I know the son, of course, having met him, I think it was in Addis Ababa, the young man looks very sporty. And I'm happy to say that he has a mother that has an interest in matters of sports. And I want to tell you, Senator Uroba, it's just not only a question of unifying the young men of this country, because I know you are very passionate about women, and the women agenda is close to your heart. This particular bill, by dint of its operation, when it becomes law, will equally unify very, very many women who is your greatest constituency. And I would wish to urge you to join us in making sure that this bill sees the light of the day. Mr. Speaker, let me also congratulate and speak much about the bill as proposed by Senator Edwin Sifuna. Because the said bill by Sifuna, Mr. Speaker, speaks to Section 38M of this bill as to the funding of the county academies, Mr. Speaker. And I had a chance to contribute to the bill as framed by Senator Sifuna on the need to making sure that our county sports associations have necessary funding so that individual clubs in those associations can be able to benefit from funding from government, so that they are able to meet their regular weekly budgetary requirements, so that they can travel from as far as, for instance, their clubs in Kwale County. We have a club called SS Assad that is participating in a nationwide league, Mr. Speaker. And from time to time, this club, either they call me or they call my colleague leaders seeking for assistance every week, Mr. Speaker, so that they can travel to as far as Migori, as far as Kisii, to participate in the Super League nationally. Yet they are cash-strapped, they have no funding, and even as we seek to entrench the culture of academies in our country, Mr. Speaker, we must guarantee funding to these clubs. And I want to thank Senator Eddie Okech, and for information, my brother, I was on Thika Road that I was following the discourse from this house because I knew perhaps I'd be forced to reply. So I took it upon myself to listen in to the conversations. And I want to thank you for your very enriching contributions, Senator Eddie Okech. I'll be very frank, we had not thought along the lines of the modern football academies as they happen in London, in Spain, in Germany, and these, modern countries. We actually thought of just drafting a law that would secure the place of an academy in our local areas, so that we have a chance and a platform within which the young, sport-talented men and women of this country can have a place to go and showcase their talent, a place that is readily available, a place that has facilities, has the necessary technical expertise in form of coaches, and much more important, Mr. Speaker, a place that has a chance for scouts to come and scout for football talent, for sports talent. The idea, Senator Eddie, is just guaranteeing a place whereby instead of waiting for what is known as the Senator Alan Chesang Super Cup, for instance, or Senator Mungatana Super Cup, for instance, where, in my view, is just a way of politicizing sports instead of speaking to the real talent and opportunities in sports and in the sporting world. But I thank you, Senator Eddy, that you have construed this bill to be speaking about running a football academy that is a club. We had not seen through that particular line of thought, and I want to assure you, we must start from somewhere, and that somewhere is by the very nature of this bill. And I thank you because I have seen a very good line of amendments to pursue, but in the interest of time, Senator Eddy, and allow me, we proceed as it is, and then I know because laws are not made in finality, you will have a chance and opportunity to probably push forth through this amendment, but what we want to seek to achieve in the meantime, and perhaps for information, you've seen government through the sports ministry, led by my able governor emeritus, the Honorable Salim Galamvuria. They have gone ahead and they are already launching sports academies countrywide. And in fact, when I had a conversation with the sports mandarins in that ministry, they informed me that the idea is to roll these academies in every constituency, Mr. Speaker. And here we are speaking about county sports academies, but the ministry and the government has seen the need to further devolve the same into constituencies. So then again, that would speak heavily on funding, that would speak heavily on matters management of the same, it will speak heavily on matters running the county sports academies. Otherwise, I really wish to take this opportunity to thank everyone who's contributed to this bill. We do not take your contributions for granted. I know they speak towards enriching this particular bill, and it is my sincere hope and believe and trust that as a House, we will be able to consider those very wonderful and amazing amendments so that we make this particular law very proactive and very aggressive in nature, and much more important, Mr. Speaker, very easy and efficient and lean in matters implementing the same. We just don't want to legislate on laws that become problematic in matters implementing, especially when we are strained as county governments, because I understand a governor would be torn between pushing in funds for roads maintenance, pushing in funds for running their bursary programs, Mr. Speaker. And I'm happy in the morning we had a very robust discussion and a motion on the whole issue on harmonizing bursaries, Mr. Speaker. And maybe perhaps I would want to take this chance to remind those of us who are in leadership and running such programs that, number one, the Senate is not opposed to you running scholarship opportunities and bursary programs. And number two, Senator Chimera in person is not opposed to these bursaries because it is what is available in the meantime. So I know you would be torn between pushing in funding to pay school fees, funding to buy. Mr. Speaker, I don't know, Senator Eddy seems to have a burning issue, but maybe I can finish.
Senator Eddy, allow Senator Chimera to conclude on his reply. You will have your time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to let the COG know that it is a balance. That when you receive funding from the Exchequer, it is a huge balance between how you put in those funds and how the citizens want the funds to be applied. It is wrong for certain leaders, Mr. Speaker, to try and purport that the Senate is against certain programs or individual senators are against certain programs. And you know, it is foolish, Mr. Speaker, for a leader to ever imagine that we would be against what they are doing in their respective counties, Mr. Speaker. We firmly understand we send money to the counties, and because the whole hallmark of government expenditure, especially matters county financing and expenditure, are premised on this public participation principle. If the people so decide that they want to set aside a certain allocation to run a certain program, be it road maintenance, be it healthcare, be it bursaries, we have no business as senators I have no business as Raphael Chimera Mwinzagu, Senator from Kwale County, to say I am opposed to that particular idea. I want to make it clear and let it go on record that I support what governors are doing. I support governors running bursary programs. I support governor running programs in agriculture, the FLOCA programs that you run, climate change and resilient projects that you run. We support them because the people of Kwale, the people of these many other counties have actually put their voice towards making sure these funds are expended in that particular manner. So for somebody to try and say we are against because there is a conversation, Mr. Speaker, on making sure that perhaps there is free education to everyone, I don't think it is right. And I also want to say, when this bill becomes law, do not feel strained that Senator Chimera and Senator Ojienda brought forth a law that then again strains your resources to be able to manage these academies. I am happy that Senator Sifuna has given that cure, that now there'll be a percentage, 1% from the shareable revenue that goes towards making sure that these monies are available for our county sporting activities. I know they would say, why are you burdening us with more duties, more roles, especially more financial burden? Because these academies must have a committee as proposed in section 38C on the management of the same counties, academies, Mr. Speaker, and that these committees will be drawing allowances, these academies would want maintenance, and of course it is a strain in terms of their budget. But then again, we are saying, let the young men and women of this country also be able to have an opportunity to showcase their sporting talent. I know we can always raise finances. We would be willing. And I know people like Senator Karen Nyamu here and Senator Gloria Uroba have very good networks towards making sure we attract donor funding, we attract donations and gifts, you know, and support in terms of financial support to these clubs in Nairobi County and Kisii County and other counties, Mr. Speaker. So I don't think why the conversation would largely be touching on how best we finance our academies. Otherwise, I want to also take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to thank the government for really, you know, jumping over the gun and going a step ahead by implementing what we are proposing to be law. And I'm happy that for the first time in this great nation, there will be a legal framework that allows and governs how sporting activities are regulated, are run. I know Senator Eddy equally has an amendment again on matter sports as well, and I'm really looking forward towards contributing to your bill as well. And I thank you, my brother, for those very kind words. I mean, I didn't expect the same from you, knowing you very well, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I finish and pursuant to Standing Order 66(3), I request that the putting of the question be deferred to a later date. With those many remarks, I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chimera, putting of the question on this particular bill is deferred to the next sitting of the House. Before we call out the next order, while you are replying, Senator Chimera, you made a comment to the effect that you came in with the mindset that you would be forced to reply to this particular bill. I'm sure it was not intentional to that extent, because it's part of process. So nobody would have in any way forced you, the chair, nor any other person, but you have replied because it's part of the process of processing the legislation. Now, clerk, let's call the next order. Honorable members, we shall defer order number 15, order number 16, and order number 17 to the next sitting when we have quorum to transact the bills on the committee of the whole. Call order number 16, clerk.
Order number 18, the Creative Economy Support Bill, Senate Bills number 30 of 2024, second reading.
I call upon Senator Eddy to move this particular bill.
Mr. Speaker, it's an honor to be back on this dispatch again. And through your honor, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the Creative Economy Bill, the Creative Economy Support Bill, Senate Bills number 30 of 2024, be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, it's a very big honor to move this bill because the creative economy is an economy that has been very elusive to our country. It's one of the economies that is greatly misunderstood and yet has got the biggest opportunities for our youth as far as I am concerned, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, the needs of the persons in the creative economy have traditionally been taken aback in terms of priorities of the state. If you think about it, just in terms of even the structure of the state support that has been there. Just to begin with, Mr. Speaker, the creative economy is housed in the Ministry of Sports and Culture, when we know that the creative economy actually is a serious case for business. If you think about all the clusters that constitute the creative economy, be it music, be it the creative arts, be it publishing books, be it the performed arts. Mr. Speaker, the list goes on and on. But we have seen that there is an increasing, just misguided priority by the state, just by the start of how the state understands the creative. Therefore, this is a bill, Mr. Speaker, that seeks to have us think about the creative economy as a place to leverage not just the human creativity that makes it a question for culture or a question for entertainment or a question for decorative elements or facets in different economies that we have in the country, but a place for innovation and a place for ideation that can actually be able to contribute to economic development. What I'm talking about here, Mr. Speaker, is there a possibility of the creative economy bringing us a proper, viable case for investment? Is there commercial viability in the broader aspect and the narrower aspect of the creative economy? This is what this bill seeks to create understanding of for us people in government and allowing the creative economy to grow into an industrial sector that it should be and that is amorphously currently. And this bill, Mr. Speaker, is essentially rethinking the idea of policy. Because what is lacking in the creative economy, Mr. Speaker, is what I would call industrial policy, whereby creative themselves don't influence or don't inform the action and inaction of our governments in this country, be it the county government or the national government. Therefore, the citizens working in the creative economy, despite the fact that they contribute to the gross domestic product by creating employment opportunities, both short-term and long-term, in fact, even sometimes mid-term, because we have seen a number of places where the young people are running gigs here and there, or they are encapsulated in music, they are in the arts, and all these other places. Despite all that contribution, Mr. Speaker, they are still exposed to the vagaries of inadequate public policy. Mr. Speaker, they pay taxes as a result of the activities in the creative economy that they are involved in. Mr. Speaker, they contribute to our GDP in a variety of ways, but there's no investment in proper support that ensures that creative economy can grow. And Mr. Speaker, some of these things happen by the fact that the government is sometimes misinformed on what creative economy actually entails. This bill will seek to define that, what we think is creative economy. And that definition, therefore, will inform the proper housing of this creative economy. And Mr. Speaker, as you know, currently, as I said, the creative economy is housed under the Ministry of Sports, and culture, because people in the creative are not seen as the traditional areas of professionalism. They're not seen as the doctors, or you would see the organizations around what I would call lawyers, or the traditional industries where finance people are,
medics are, engineers are, they are seen as sometimes by culture, people who might have failed in life, so that the creative economy has been left as an economy of the last resort. If you have failed in these other cultures, other cultural opportunities, or other traditional industries, if you fail to be a doctor, or you fail to be a lawyer, like my good friend Senator Chimera, who is a very good lawyer, I got to realize when I went to Diani, runs a very good law firm. If you fail, if you fail to be a lawyer, or you fail to be an engineer, then automatically you are seen as to just go into the creative industry. I'm imagining a conversation between young people like what Senator Oruba was talking about, our son who is 17-year-old, and then you tell your mom or your dad that, hey, mom, I want to go to become a musician. That can be a very traumatizing conversation between your mom and the son. Or, hey, mom, or hey, dad, I want to go and become a comedian, and I want to leave school to become a comedian. It will be a very big problem, a very big conversation. There's one comedian that I've followed for a while from South Africa called Trevor Noah. He actually had this kind of conversation with his parents, and they were very concerned I was going to be a clown, right? But if you look at the opportunity that's in that creative industry, it's humongous for young people. We must structure it right. And what this bill wants for the first time is to take it from the Ministry of Sports and put it in the Ministry of Trade and bring about the investment culture in it.
Senator Eddy, you will have to stop from there. When the House resumes, you will have 53 minutes to continue moving your bill. Now, Honorable Senators, it's now 6:30 p.m. Time to adjourn the Senate. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until tomorrow, Thursday, 8th of May, 2025 at 2:30 p.m.